up, sis?
Hey, what's up? What's up? So that wasn't you, that African guy on stage that came on stage. That wasn't you. That sounded like you.
No, no, not at all. That's funny. I got asked multiple times. I was like, you know what? I'm flattered, but no, that's funny. Not at all. That dude was pretty authentic. You know what I'm saying? He's impressive. So, but nah, wasn't me.
You think he was authentic? I don't even think he was African. The
No,
accent
I mean
sounded
the
fake to me.
that accent was authentic anyway. I mean the impression, I guess. I don't know, but I'm not as good. I don't think I'm that good yet. I need to start practicing more so I can get it down.
Hmm. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I feel great. You know, had some little static earlier, but it's small. You know, I didn't even make a space about it. I went to somebody else's space to get some shit off my chest, so it's all good.
Oh my God! Everybody's got some shit to get off their chest,
Yeah,
and
no,
I be
it's
missing
small.
all of that stuff because I'm only around at night. So
Mm, it's small. It was small and meaningless. You know what I'm saying? In the grand scheme of even Twitter spaces or whatever, it's some small shit. You know. Plus, if I make it get big, I'm only putting in energy to something that's helping somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You already know we got bigger and better things coming up and to do. And those who are mad in the background or whatever, they're gonna stay the fuck mad. I'm gonna make them even more mad with shit that's coming up in the near future. So that's what it is.
mm. Hey, Nishu, what do you do when people just straight up plagiarize your tweets or
Mm,
just straight up copy off of you, and you're all in the same circle and you don't want to cause a big rift, but they copying off every fucking thing you do.
oh, well, you just keep on saying, "Oh my God, I was just saying that," and quote your tweet in their comments. Boom.
Really? I mean, I wonder if this will make this person continue to pick and copy off of everything I do, and I want to tell them, I see a lot of strengths in you. I don't know if you're trying to fuck with me or if you admire me or what, but you don't have to copy off everything I do. You you have other strengths that I don't have. So just do the other things that you do. I
Right.
want to tell them so bad, but when somebody does things like that, they're not all together anyway, cuz it's like every other thing that I do this person copies. And it's almost as if it's aggressive, like they're coming for me.
Mm. Oh yeah, that's not cool. Yeah, I can't stand that shit. I can't stand it. Can't do it.
Yeah, it's always something. I guess it's a balance in the universe with energy and people's energy. It's just some type of balance. It's gonna always. I think it's just gonna always be something with people.
Right. I mean, around these parts, yeah. The things that we see, um, people just, some people just get triggered, I guess, by other people's contentment or happiness or success or whatever the hell they even think it is or whatever. Or just you being content with yourself, you believing in yourself. I like people who are confident in themselves. I'm not triggered by that. I like hanging around them, you know. I love it. I like successful black people or people who just know they're going to be successful. I rock with that. Oh, your phone got a terrible kickback, by the way. You on
Oh,
Bluetooth
I'm
or something?
sorry.
Your phone is kicking the fuck back. But nah, it's like, it's a lot of wonderful people that be in our spaces that are down and they support other black people. And then you get the people that are always, into some shit and don't really support others. And they're always questioning, pocket watching. They just really be unhappy. And I wish that they could be open about their shit so we could, look, okay, you unhappy, you got shit going on in your life. Me, I'm actually I'm a how can I put it? I'm a compassionate person. If I know you really going through some shit or whatever, I'm gonna tiptoe around that if you really going through some shit. But if you just coming at people like foul and shit and doing weirdo shit, I'm like, oh, okay, well, fuck this nigga. Like, all bets are off. But it be people that got real trauma in their life. I'm starting to see, and they go at people, and that manifests itself in a lot of negativity. People always down on the other person. They always hating and shit. like it's not worth it. You know, our spirit, we have a beautiful spirit as a people, and we can really elevate each other if we focus on the positives as much as we can. And those who are negative, we got to just distance ourselves from them. You know, even those who are our people who are just traumatized, they losers, and they just have a certain thing in life that's not working out. It's okay. You ain't always gonna be no loser. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm saying that with all respect. Like, you know, you might be a loser right now, like, or feel like you're a loser in life. That's okay. All you got to do is focus, put your head down, and say, you know what? I'm getting the fuck out of this. I'm gonna be somewhere else and somewhere different. And you could, and everybody who clown, I'm sorry, everybody who clowns you, I'm coming, babe. I'm sorry, everybody who clowns your ass is gonna be. I got interrupted by a phone call. My wife is like, get over here, these kids got my nerve. But but nah, everybody who clowns your ass, you know what I'm saying? You can bring that up later. Like, look at me now, though. Look at what I did now. Yeah, I was on this over here, but look at me now. So, you know, I wish, you know, I knew who was feeling down or bad or whatever, so I could like not go so hard, or I don't know. But yeah, that trauma and how people deal with it and bring it to others, it's a real thing. And I think that's what I be seeing sometimes, but I be in the moment. So when somebody disrespect me, I be like, man, fuck all this shit. I'm I'm taking swings, I'm clowning, I'm gonna call you a loser, you unhappy losing bastard, you fucking failure. Like I'm gonna be going hard, and I'm like, think later. I'm like, that motherfucker really might be a loser or a failure or going through something, and I'm over here just like going hard. And I know some people like, man, fuck them. If they gonna, open their mouth and just, go for the jugular. But it's like that ain't getting me nowhere at the end of the day. So, you know, that's my 3 cents, my 3.5 cents.
Your 3.5 cents. I appreciate you saying it that way because sometimes people's behaviors could be a form of trauma, and their trauma can manifest in many different ways, and you just don't know. But sometimes you don't know if they're weirding out on you, and you don't know if you're unsafe around them. And I'm not talking about the person copying. I'm off of that now because just like I said, different people have strengths. We just have to find out what our strength is. A lot of people are walking around with post traumatic slave disorder, and we kind of stuck taking it out on each other and attacking each other, doing dirty stuff to each other because of what's happening to us.
Yeah,
But I don't have no issues with nobody or nothing like that. I just basically opened up the space because I thought it was funny that how the African guy, because I don't think he was African. But I think he had been in Tariq's space before, and Tariq blocked him. But the account said 2024 May, and he barely followed anybody. So I just assumed that he was just a troll pretending to be African. He didn't sound African to me.
for
He
real.
sounded like he was faking an accent. And you said he sounded authentic, right?
I thought he did, but the way people were, I was like, I still think I was just weirded out by the whole like Tariq unblock me type shit. I'm like, man, do you have any self respect when a dude block you? Why you asking to be? I don't know. I don't get that one. Like, why you asking to unblock you? He don't fuck with you. Cool. You got to be my friend. Like, we got to be really cool for me to be like, hey, why you block me? And even then, I'm like in the back of my heart, I'm like, hey, this answer better be good. Or I'm like, fuck you for good. Like, you better answer this shit right. You better, why you block me? Like, that's if we really like, if we tight. If I think we really cool like that, but just some random dude like on, and that's what Tariq Nasheed should be to you. If you some African, you ain't never met him, y'all don't know each other, you just follow him on some fanboy shit. Like if he block you, then move along. Why you feel the need to, you know what I'm saying? Like Tariq, why did you block me? Unblock my account, Tariq, because you blocked me. Why do you block more Africans than Fat Joe blocked FBA? Like we was talking about Fat Joe, and you crying on the stage about why a grown man blocked you. That was weird. And then when he started talking to the sister, like you shut up and all that. Like they can't handle when a black woman got an opinion. Like, look, bro, get over it. Get the fuck over it. Like that's our strength as black men, as black American men. That's legit one of our strengths. It's why we got a lot of movements popping. Black American men, we literally will put a black woman on our chest, like we'll wear a shirt with an intellectual black woman, a hero. It's be legit our hero, an archetype has no kind of sexual like Claire Huxtable. I mean Claire Huxtable's sexy, but we ain't into her because she's sexy. You feel me? And I'm saying that as like just a TV person, like an icon that's a celebrity. Now we going to Rosa Parks, if we going to Coretta Scott King, We going to Ida B. Wells. We going to Frances Cress Welsing. We'll wear shirts with those women on our chest, and we have no problem. But you know who don't do that? Almost every other man. The women that they highlight are women. It's like always sexual, almost always sexual, or it's a queen that's ancient. It's not a woman who still has breath in her lungs or who is just recent or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody who has been like memorialized in a mythical way almost that they might do that with us. If you a sister that's getting it in, you know, Black American men actually will support you. We will represent you. We gonna openly love that woman and be like, yo, the way Black American men talk about Michelle Obama, you know what I'm saying? We make her like an archetype for white men. That's my Michelle Obama. That's my Claire Huxtable. You know, and it be on some non-sexual type thing. It's just I see quality in this woman. Other men don't do that. And so when they see a woman like expressing herself, they get triggered by that shit. And like I said, that's our strength. In the movements we've had, women have been incredibly active. And so we have actually made our numbers greater by including the other half of our population. And I think we got to continue to be on that. But this dude is triggered by shit like that. And so her expressing herself and flaming his ass up and defeating him and all that, nigga got triggered. And good for him. And I'm glad Tariq kept clowning his ass too. Because fuck him. And being disrespectful, I'm glad she flamed his ass up too. What up, Willie Dynamite? My man Racer Bo.
Yeah, what's happening? What's happening, everybody? Peace, peace. What's going down? What's going down?
Peace.
What's up, Sister Nikki? Now, Sister Nikki, wait, wait. Oh, I gotta verify something real quick, Sister. Please don't tell me you pulled up to the premiere in New York and then holler at your boy.
Let me make this clear. I was not there. This was sent to me by Melrose, and I forgot to. I tagged him, but then I had to edit it, and then when I edited it, I didn't put him in the original post, but I put it into the thread of the tweet. Oh no, I would never. I would never not speak to people because I know too many people in the movement to not never speak. But I got tickets and everything. I'm gonna be at the rally for sure. I'm
All right,
gonna be
cool,
there for
cool,
several
cool.
days. So you got my information. I'll shoot you my number or whatever. But I'll definitely be at the rally for anybody who want to see me. But I wasn't there. That was Melrose's video.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, Mel, bro, that's my brother. Shout out to the homie. You know what I'm
Yeah, I'm just
saying?
really close with him. So a lot of and I just post to Twitter for him. He don't like posting on Twitter. So whenever he wants something on Twitter, I just post it for him.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Cool. That's real cool. Melrose is a rider, like for real, for real,
Yeah,
for real, for
yes, sir. And well, you are too. And but you know, if you ever blocked me, I would be devastated. I would reach out to you and be like, "Hey, what's the problem? Why you block me, Willie Dynamite? If
real. Yeah,
you
I
just
usually
like
don't.
randomly block me."
I usually don't block people. Like if I block anybody, it's just an annoying tether who constantly just on my timeline, like repeating the same shit like a gnat. Yeah, I'll flick them off. But it's even people I done went back and forth with hardcore that I don't block. You know what I'm saying? Like I just block when you digitally dick riding. That's all. Excuse my French.
Oh no, go ahead. Speak how you want. No, but
Yeah.
I would never pull up nowhere and not speak to y'all.
All right. All
Never.
right. Yeah, because
I,
because
I
me
know
and
too many
because
people
me
in the
and Brother
movement.
Sage caught the footage, and what was ironic, the footage. And I don't know what happened to brother Melrose. I don't know if he was there or we just didn't bump into each other. But I'm in that footage. Me and brother Sage. You know what I'm saying? We was on out there stomping at the premiere and all of that, making it look real good, real good.
You know what? I should have got some pictures, some more pictures of you and Sage, and I would have put them up on YouTube. You can still give them to me though.
Oh, now
Uh,
we didn't even. It was sister. It was so hectic. Believe it or not, it really didn't go like that. Like me and brother Sage, we clicked up. We was in the row. We was doing our thing, but everybody had it was like the way New York is. Everybody had to bust their move. You get what I'm saying? I don't even think Tariq. Like once he did the premiere, he had to go because he had interviews all over the city. Like some people were up here. Somebody, there's always something to do. Let's just put it like that. So everybody got together, but it was a beautiful turnout. The line was wrapped around the block. We had the white folks bugging out trying to figure out what we was doing. So when we start doing that shit, and they start getting nosy, there's something going down. So, but it was beautiful. The homie ASAP came through. Debbie D was in the building, and the big homie DJ Phase. It was just it was off the hook, man. It really was.
Do you think living in New York changes your view on how on hip hop and how it was created and anything like that? Do you feel
Um,
like,
what do you mean change my view, Nikki? Just to be clear,
excuse me?
you said change my view. Change my view.
Yeah, do you feel like living in New York, because there are a lot of immigrants in New York? Do you feel like living in New York can change how you view the creation of hip hop or delineating or anything like that? Do you feel like living around all them immigrants has changed the way that you see our lineage?
Uh, to be honest with you, I kind of don't understand the question, so I'm gonna try to answer it based on how I think you're asking.
Okay.
Um, well, first of all, they could never change my view on hip hop because I have personal family members that was there at the beginning of the creation, so that's very anecdotal. You get what I'm saying? For me personally, so my mother's oldest brother, he went to those hurt parties. You get what I'm saying? He was going to them jams at 123. My mother took me to jams at 123 in the carriage. I got pictures of this. You know what I'm saying? The parties over there in Forest. You get what I'm saying? And the rec room and all of that. You get what I'm saying? So
Okay, let me cut in real quick
okay.
and say it a little bit better. Okay, there was this chick, I forgot, I think her name was Monique or something like that. She lived in New York and she's FBA, she be in these spaces, and she was talking about how the foundational black Americans are treated in New York, are treated different by everybody in the United States, everybody else. And I have never seen that, but she's saying that we treat them different because they treat us in New York different because y'all live around immigrants. That's what she was saying.
Uh see that once again that's nuance for people. And the reason why I have to say that's nuance because it depends on her age. So if she's, let's just say, in her 20s to early 30s, then her total perspective of the city, especially as from a coming of age perspective, will be totally different from mine. Because when I came up, yes, there were more FBAs in the city, particularly in the Bronx. So it would depend on what part of the city she grew up in. It would depend on what time frame she grew up in to for me to even have an understanding of her perspective. So that's one. Two, the misnomer is that this city is a big melting pot. Brother, you per minute. A lot of us that's from the New York area could tell you how much that is not true. This is why when anytime they talk about having a big apple or they push this immigrant a notion or this is a city of immigrants and all of that, they always show you Manhattan because everybody's down there working. So everybody from their prospective areas or prospective neighborhoods will have to come down to the island of Manhattan for the most part to work. Over 50% of the people that live in the city work in Manhattan. So when you understand that, that's just a trajectory they try to push to give you the idea that this city is not segregated, but this city is very much segregated, just like Chicago. Okay, so for me, in my neighborhood, on my side of the town, the Bronx, when I was growing up, it was half Black American, half Puerto Rican, predominantly. But then my grandmother before my grandparents moved to Queens in the early 70s, they were also in that neighborhood during the 60s, 50s, and 40s. And that neighborhood was in the Bronx for in majorities predominantly black as far as if you want to count minority numbers, so called. So a lot of these Puerto Ricans, just like we went over in Tariq's space, this so-called New York Rican, the Ricans that was coming in after World War II, that wasn't a large number of them like they make it seem. A lot of these Puerto Ricans, especially the ones that's pushing this lie, their parents didn't come up to the city maybe into the late 60s, early 70s. You still have Puerto Ricans sitting there coming straight off the island, migrating to the Bronx in particular, all the way up into the mid 90s. So these are the ones that's really pushing that. This is why when you talk to like an old school Puerto Rican like Batch, who more than likely his parents came up here right after World War II, they can't sit there and fake the funk because they understand the dynamics of the Bronx and how it was going on at the time. You get what I'm saying? So this is why when you talk to a lot of them old school cats, or if they have revised their story now, when you look at their old interviews, they're telling the truth. Especially when you look at the interviews in the '90s, because the hip hop wasn't corporatized yet. So that's the tale of the tape. But I hope I answered your question. But if not, I'll elaborate further.
No, you answered my question and you educated me, and I did flop that question because I couldn't remember that lady's name. So, and I was trying not to, I was trying not to put a bad taste in people's mouth about her, but she did get up on Tariq's stage and ask a question like that. So, but yes, you answered my question. I appreciate it. So, yeah, average, what are you doing? And he just walked away.
Yeah, but I'm here. But yeah,
Chilling, chilling,
I
trying
probably
to.
will have to talk to the sister personally. Um, but don't get me wrong, you do have pockets of certain FBAs that um once again it's about there's a lot of nuance to that. Like I'll give you for instance, like when my grandparents first moved to Queens um in the early '70s, uh they moved, let's just say, close to the borderline of Long Island in the Rosedale section of Queens. So there was still like a few white folks left on the neighborhood. You get what I'm saying? So her generation could literally say, yeah, I had white folks out in my classroom I went to school with. Even me in the Bronx, I had a couple of Italian kids from about kindergarten to maybe first, second grade that was in my class consistently. And then they was like the last of the white folks to leave the neighborhood, the very last. So, but if you talk to a person that's even just 3 to 4 years younger than me, they don't have that experience at all because about maybe by the time they was going to school, there was no white folks in school at all. So, like I said, there's a lot of nuance to the demographic of where when you talking about New York, depending on where people grew up at and what time period they grew up in.
That's interesting. Yeah, so like that's the birthplace of hip hop. I can't wait until the microphone check come out for the West Coast. I wonder who he gonna get to
Yeah, I
be.
really want to see that. I really want to see that. I really want to see that. And then also it would be complete if he just went down to the South too. If I think the brothers in the South need they flowers as well because a lot of a lot once again hip hop might have not been born in the South, but the seed comes from the South, and that even coincides with just our story, as FBAs in New York. Period. You get what I'm saying? Like my grandparents, my grandparents, they were born up here in the East Coast in the '40s, but my great grandparents they come from the Carolinas and Georgia. So and that also wants to bring me into another caveat, and this is why I always constantly express the Dewan B when you hear that uh uh uh, uh New York, we didn't fuck with rap coming from other places, especially coming from our people. That is a big, big lie. And I go out my way to dispel that because um for us to sit here and just totally disrespect the South, we disrespecting our great grandparents. You get what I'm saying? My grandmother on my father's side, she had a deep Southern accent. She was Gullah Geechee. So she had a very, very strong Gullah accent and very, very strong Southern accents. Ate like a Southern woman, talked like a Southern woman, moved like a Southern woman. So for me to just shit on the South and say, yo, we don't fuck with the South, y'all niggas down there, this, that, and that was never us. That's them tethers doing that. And I've been saying that for the longest. That's always been their narrative. And that's the same narrative that the Puerto Ricans try to push when it comes to hip hop, to separate the rest of the family from the culture, to say, oh, y'all didn't come up in New York. Y'all don't know nothing about this. No, that's bullshit. They know, but our family that didn't grow up in New York know more about this culture than any motherfucking foreigner could ever dream about. Okay? Because even though, and I always use Soul Train as an example. Even though we were living in different regions of the country, we were all doing the same activities as a people consistently across this country. We all knew when to go in the house when the stoplight came on. We all knew that Big Mom was going to sit there and clean up that goddamn house, and you had to go take your ass outside and go play or go clean up or go do something productive while we was doing that thing on Saturday. You get what I'm saying? Even our programming. A lot of the brothers, I never been to Chicago, but when I talked to the brothers in Chicago during a certain time period, they was doing the same shit. Yo, listen, we woke up, we got that cereal popping, then we sat there and watched Saturday morning cartoons. Then Soul Train came on, and we looking for the kung fu flicks, and then we got to go take our ass outside until the street light came on, cause you know what I'm saying. Culturally, we doing the same shit. So what they try to do is say, oh, this is a regional thing. This is a Bronx thing. So all of y'all, y'all coming from the South, and Tariq don't know what he talking about because he's a West Coast guy. And these are all bullshit narratives that they try to push. So this is why it's so important for us to one understand history, and two, like I always say, whenever in doubt, just refer to our culture. Even when you vetting people, you know what I'm saying. All you got to do is refer to our culture, and that'll tell you everything that you need to know. And I land on that.
That's dope, man. You said a word, man. A lot of information in that too. I like the fact that when you come up, you being from the Bronx, and then not only that, you go into the history of it and debunk a lot of stuff, and then give a lot of information on not just today, but also yesteryear, and then just how much motherfuckers be lying and stuff. The cultural dynamics of what was during the time where they claim they created it is very important of the city and people like yourself. And I consider you, you a young dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, and your history. You know what I'm saying? You paid attention when your peoples was talking, and not only that, but you live in the area too. So those things are incredibly important because and you stand on what you say, and you can't be moved. That's why you you trigger somebody like you know Doctor, what is his name, Doctor Derek Cologne. I shouldn't even call him a doctor, bro, because that doctor don't mean shit when you out here lying. I don't care where you went to school at. If you a liar, you a liar. Um, but yeah, you trigger people, man. But they can't refute you what you be saying, bro. So yeah, I like when you cook and start talking about what's going on in hip hop. Even with your information about Fat Joe and his older brother and Fat Joe's parents and shit, like even that's important. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody had to remind me recently, like, yo, Fat Joe was kind of like cosplaying us at first. He wasn't really out and out a Puerto Rican like that. It was like Big Pun made it cool to be a Puerto Rican for Fat Joe. Big Pun hadn't been out like that. Fat Joe was the cat that had been out, but Fat Joe wasn't no proud ass Puerto Rican when he was out. When he was out here trying to really buddy with black people, it was like Fat Joe was just some, you know, light skinned black dude or some shit. Like you didn't know what he was. And then all of a sudden he Puerto Rican because Big Pun was out and out being proud. It's like he gave him the strength that I don't know. But and then all of a sudden now the dude who you let around who be cool with you, now all of a sudden he get around his Puerto Rican homies, he want to use the N word with his little hedge of protection. And then now, now that he got the vice president on the phone, now all of a sudden it's Latinos created hip hop with black people 50-50. Like the nerve and the disrespect. And then while dropping M bombs and shit. And you a white boy. At the end of the day, racially, you a white boy. On your official documentation, you put white. But of course, to be culturally cool, you're Puerto Rican because Big Pun made it that way. And then going back, you wanted black people to see you as one of them. And then now you want to make it to where Puerto Ricans created hip hop 50-50. It's just the hopscotch that goes on, the dishonesty, and now you mad because the truth is coming out. And I said it in a tweet before. The vice president can't save you. She cannot save your career at all. It's a wrap. I don't give a fuck if you got her on the phone or not. It's a wrap. And here comes coming to the stage is somebody who the vice president felt so much pressure from. She had to go down to his region and start talking about greens. What's up, Marcel?
Hello, everyone. I don't get into this hip hop debate because I know we started it. What I always am going to be involved with is gatekeeping our culture. And it just hit me when I was thinking about, no, he wasn't my biological grandfather. I want to emphasize, but he was my grandfather. I consider him my grandfather in every way that mattered. Chama. That's what we called him, Chama. He was Puerto Rican, a black Puerto Rican man. And again, it just hit me. His family had been in New York City since the late 40s, early 1950s. These people, even now, they're very, very old now, but some of them still don't know English. Okay? He had to learn English. He had a thick, thick Spanish Caribbean accent. Very thick Spanish Caribbean accent. And he came up in the 1960s. He was in his teens and the 20s in the 1960s. And he was playing for Tito Puente. He played for Tito Puente. I don't know if he was a backup member of some band, but he played for Tito Puente. He listened to Celia Cruz. He played his bongos. He was definitely not out there going no damn hip hop parties, influencing black Americans to do nothing. And his story is like the story of many of his contemporaries who were coming from Puerto Rico or were coming from families that had just arrived in New York City. They didn't even know English. So how in the hell are we saying that they were right there at the genesis of an American cultural form that reduced artwork, verbal artwork in English, when a lot of them still mainly spoke Spanish? And again, some of them are still alive right now from his time period. He died in the early 2000s. But those his age mates, they're still alive right now, and they still barely know English till this day. Even some of the children they had barely could speak English. And I was around. This is not anything I'm hearing about or anything I'm being told about. These are things that, as of recently, his mother died, and my mother and my aunts went up to New York City, and some of them up there still didn't know English. They still had to provide the services in Spanish and English. So that's something that we need to talk about. I also want to say I'm not a big music aficionado, but when I was in the 90s, at least, Big Pun was the popular rapper. No one was checking for no damn Fat Joe. And he blocked me too, by the way. And I haven't even been real verbal in this matter. And somehow he found my account and blocked me. I don't remember people checking for Fat Joe like that. I really don't. Matter of fact, he didn't start to rise in fame until Big Pun died. But on the matter of Big Pun, I do remember seeing a clip shortly before Big Pun died. They was doing a background expose into some of his life and his music, and Big Pun thanked Black Americans for bringing him into their culture. So Big Pun showed respect to the originators of hip hop culture. So if Fat Joe was going to talk about something he admires Big Pun and that was his brother and whatnot, he needs to respect his brother's legacy because Big Pun is on record acknowledging that it was Black Americans who brought Puerto Ricans into hip hop culture.
Damn, you cooked. You cooked. There's a lot of information in that. I didn't even know that about that. That's a hell of a point about Big Pun and Fat Joe. And yeah, you're right. Fat Joe basically is kind of eating off of Big Pun's death because he didn't really have a lot of relevancy until Big Pun passed. Hell of a point. And then about Big Pun thanking Black Americans. And I think Racer Bo, Big Pun isn't wife his baby mama and his wife? Ain't she black or is she like
Nah,
Afro
they Puerto
Latino?
Ricans. Nah, they all Puerto
Okay,
Ricans.
she like Afro Latino
Yeah,
looking.
they all Puerto Rican. Yeah,
Okay.
but just a slight insight on Big Pun. Now, don't get me wrong. Puerto Ricans used to go to this gym. Like this is where I learned to get my hand skills up. The gym is tore down now, but y'all could Google it.
And I
It
got you,
should,
John Horace. I'm sorry about that, Will. I
yeah,
got you,
my
John
bad,
Horace.
John. I'm gonna make this so quick. It should come up. There used to be a gym on Fox Street called Fort Apache Gym, and it was ran by Mr. George. He used to be an ex-police officer, FBA. And Pun used to be in there boxing. You know what I'm saying? You know, everybody knew him as Chris. So, yeah, he used to be in there boxing with the brothers and all of that. And he got embraced in there because you know Mr. George didn't play that. We was all family in the gym when you came in there, from the baby to the old man. So his perspective is, let me just say that he just wasn't a tether like Fat Joe, and then Fat Joe, his whole introduction to hip hop And all of the stories he's telling, that's through his brother. Ain't all even all of that gangster shit he's talking. That's through those are the stories of his brother Angel, rest in peace, Charlie Rock, and Pistol Pete, Puerto Rican Pistol Pete. He's telling their stories. You get what I'm saying? Fat Joe wouldn't know shit about hip hop if his brother didn't bring it to the house. But that's well, he might not even be able to bring it to his house because his parents had a lot of anti-black sentiment. You don't have no pictures of Fat Joe with nobody black in his crib. All his pictures of anybody him chilling with that's black is on the street. That's a reason for that. You get what I'm saying? So he tries to play this once again this game where the three card Monty shit. He's black 1 minute, he's Puerto Rican 1 minute, just to excuse his behavior and excuse his tethering. And I land, bro. I ain't gonna I'll be long winded on that.
No, much appreciated. John Hort, sorry about that. And then we go to Marcel.
Nah, y'all good, y'all good. Y'all was cooking, speaking facts, bro. But yeah, man, I really do hope Tariq, he does the one with the West Coast hip hop, too, because I was, I seen this clip the other day, bro. Like they had some Mexican dude, he was like a gang member, he was a Sereno or whatever, and he was on Adam 22. He was on No Jumper, and he was like, "Oh man, they trying to take it all from us, bro. They trying to take all our rap music and how we dress and how everything like that." I was like, "Nigga, what the fuck? Is you serious, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's nigga, it's like Tariq was saying, bro. Like they have that, that colonizer mindset. Some of these people, bro, like they just have this thing where they just, you know, they basically have, they're having like a culture shock because how they treat the melanated populations in Latin America is how they thinking that they can come up here treating us. And they having a major um culture shock. It's like a culture shock for them because they not used to that. And see, you know what I'm saying? That's what happens, you know what I'm saying? The white supremacists use them as pawns, but they come up here thinking that we're going to take the same type of abuse. They don't really know our history here. So when they come here, they just think, oh, well, we can order, the black people around just like how we do. It's like, bro, we not the same. Our process in dealing with white supremacy is totally different than how y'all niggas down there was sitting there dealing with it. We ain't friends with the white supremacists, nigga. We not trying to be buddy and trying to enhance white supremacy like Latinos are, like they have. And the thing is, what makes it what really hits them and how I always get them is that they miss the fifth element of hip hop, which is which is why they couldn't have been the creators of hip hop in the first place. Is knowledge and resistance. We literally, you know what I'm saying, like hip hop was created going against white supremacy, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and the thing is, how can they sit there and say that, they were the co-creators of it when they tried to, their people, this is documented that they basically fought to classify themselves as white. So, you know what I'm saying? Like they fought to be embraced by whiteness, nigga, not to fight against it. They were trying to enhance it. And we, you know what I'm saying? Like literally, you know what I'm saying? We've been fighting against it since we got here, since 1526. So, you know, and I always say, bro, like when it comes to hip hop, bro, in order for Latinos to have created hip hop, they would have had to create gospel. They would have had to been in gospel, disco. They would have had to been in all of these other music forms and everything like that in order to be the co-creators of hip hop. You just don't come on the scene and just be like, oh, well, yeah, we just, just out of nowhere, just learn how to do it, and we just playing on congos and shit. It's like, nah, nigga, this has been a process, a 500-year process to get to where we at. Nigga, hip hop, yes, it was cultivated and born in New York City from the foundational Black Americans that came from the South. But the roots of hip hop, the roots of it comes from the South. Its roots, its foundation of what it is comes from the South. And I just really do hope, I think this movie is really good. You know what I'm saying? I know Fat Joe and Busta Rhymes, they all, they talking about it for sure. Behind the scenes, bro, they talking about it. They pissed about this shit for sure. So, it is what it is, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? We just gotta, we gotta be hostile about our culture. Ain't nobody taking our culture, bro. I'm on some Sentinel Island shit when it comes to our culture, bro. I don't give a fuck. Ain't nobody taking our culture, bro. If they take our culture, nigga, that we getting out the paint. They gonna get rid of us. They completely get rid of us. So no, the reason why they pissed off is because the thing is they've abandoned where they come from, and when they come here, their history starts soon as they get off the plane, the boat, or wherever it is that they come from. It starts there. Our history, I mean, our culture, bro, has been cultivated for 500 years, damn near almost 1,000 fucking years. So, that's why they trying to latch on to it. So, and I just land there for now.
Go
I
ahead,
appreciate
Marcel.
that.
Hey, so I put up in the jumbotron the clip of Big Pun thanking Black Americans. I think he was asked something. I didn't watch it because y'all. I'm interested in gatekeeping our culture, yes, but they can't take our culture from us. I mean, my grandfather, my father's father, used to be in a jazz funk band in the 1960s, and somehow their records got over into Europe, and it got some steam behind it, right? But during that time, he had an opportunity to sign. I don't quote me on the record label, but I believe it was Motown, was something, a Motown or some record label that was similar to Motown. But I believe they wanted to put a white face on the album cover because that used to happen back then. They used to put white faces on the album cover because they felt it was more marketable. And my grandfather, according to how the story is told, immediately backed out of it. They trying to steal our culture is not new. And I kind of hate when we say, "Oh, they done took jazz from us. They done took country music from us. They done took rock and roll from us." No, they have not. No, they have not. What happens is we keep creating, and sometimes we move on from genres that we have created. They can't take nothing. Okay, you can't take what you didn't create. All right. So we need to really stop saying that. If we chose to go back to rock tomorrow, and there are Black American rock artists, by the way, okay? But if we chose to go back to rock country tomorrow, we would take over it. Just look at what Beyonce did. Beyonce just woke up and said, you know what? What else can I explore? She was like, hey, we created country music. I want to dabble in that. And look at what she did. Okay? And let's be very honest. Beyonce is at a point in her career where Prince reached, Michael Jackson reached. She's at that point in her career where she's making music that she wants to make for herself. Okay? She's not trying to prove that she can top the charts. If Beyonce wants to top the charts, she can do that right away. And she did top the charts. What I'm saying is she's at a point now where she's making music for her pleasure. Okay, and look at how well she did. So we can take. They didn't take nothing from it. Again, if you did not create, then you cannot take. So maybe that's why I don't. And I know we're always going to stand up and gatekeep our culture. We are always going to stand up. Even when I was growing up, and people would make little comments about country music and rock and roll, I always remembered people. And I live in a small town in South Carolina where the public school system is not the best. And yet, even around me, people always be like, no, black people created that. We created everything. So we know our culture. We know our history, and they know it too. I do want to say, however, also Big Punisher, I think in that video, let me just finish that point, was saying they asked him about how he added a lot of black women to the video or something like that. And he was like, he was doing that as a way of saying thank you to black Americans for allowing a Puerto Rican like him to come into the culture. Rachel, I do want to ask a question, if it's okay, because you're in New York City, and I think, and even I have made this statement before, but I told y'all one of my cousins was like, "No, it don't go down like that." It's a lot of criticism aimed at, I guess, Black Americans in New York City. I guess some people feel that, oh, y'all have not got it gatekeep well enough. Oh, y'all let everyone say the N word and run around. One of my cousins is adamant that's not how it goes down in New York City. She was like, she knows that there are other groups of people that who are not Black American that say the N word, but she was like, they definitely don't rub in no black person's face. Like Fat Joe would never, ever dare not rub in a black person's face in New York City and say nigga, 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 and still has his teeth in his mouth. She was like, they don't try black people in New York City like that. She was like, I'm promising you that is not how it works. She was like, it's not, you're not gonna see a bus full of black people and a bunch of white looking Puerto Ricans go around saying nigga this, nigga this, nigga this, nigga this, nigga that. She's like, I promise that's not how it happens. Is that the case, Racism? Because my cousin is adamant. I don't know if she got wind of a post I made, or I don't know. She's not on Twitter. So I'm not sure why she felt the need to have this conversation with me. It must have heard something. But she's been down south. Like a lot of my family who's up in New York City has moved back south. She's been down south probably longer now than she had been in New York City. But she made that case. I just want to ask you, is that indeed factual? Because she was like, no, ain't no non-black. She was like, yes, sometimes with the black immigrants, sometimes the second generation, third generation, sometimes she said they blend in so well, you can see a black face, you think nothing of it. But she was like, the ones that are obviously not black, she was like, they would not dare go to a black New Yorker's face and all that, being all boisterous, saying nigga, 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 nigga. And who gonna stop me from saying it? She was like, I promise you, they don't say that in front of us. So I don't know. So has that been your experience? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's she's about correct, and let me explain how that got out of hand, so we could just kind of lay this to rest. You got to understand, first of all, for the majority of Black Americans in particular, don't use that. We don't use that slur in our homes. So let's have that understanding first before I even get into anything. So what it is that and I also had lived the street life at one time, and I'm not making an excuse for it, but I'm just explaining. So when your street behavior doesn't coincide with the behavior that you carry in your house. So even me personally, I might say nigga, 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 nigga when I'm on the street, but when I'm at home, I don't talk like that. So one, you have what it is that once again you have people outside of our culture watching us and studying us and trying to emulate us. And what they'll do is that amongst emulating us, they'll go amongst their people and say it amongst each other to seem cool or to seem bravado or whatever they're trying to do, or just tethering. You get what I'm saying? So that's how it got out of hand. So understand, especially in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, we had a lot of people that were not of our lineage amongst us due to the fact that they were melanated. And then they would go back to their communities with our street vernacular. You get what I'm saying? And then to fit in or to have some type of prestige, they'll adapt our behaviors. This is why even in the movie Microphone Check, I'm glad Lord Jamal brought it home because there was a segment where he said, "Yo, you see a lot of Puerto Ricans doing Black American shit. You don't see a lot of Black Americans doing Puerto Rican shit."
Sure
And
don't.
that's basically what's going on. Also, a couple months back, we had Jake and Draco hosted a space with our good brother DJ Face, who's also in the movie Microphone Check and was a member of the Black Spades. And actually, to bring it in more perspective, I directly asked him. I said, coming up as a young booby, member of the Black Spades, hardcore gang banging in the 1970s, and I even took it back there. I said, what would you do if a Puerto Rican even said the word nigga around you? He said before he even get the word, this is his exact words, before he even get to say the word, I'm in his mouth. And that's the sentiment with all FBAs in New York City. We never would play that outside of our culture. Now, on a social level, it might be accepted because you do have Puerto Ricans that grew up with nothing but Black Americans. So I'll give you an example. Like Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys. Now, for the longest, nobody really knew that he was of Puerto Rican descent, but he grew up around Black Americans. So him saying the word nigga wouldn't come off wrong to you, especially not knowing that he's Puerto Rican. You get what I'm saying? But if he has a tether mindset, which happened in a lot of cases, which is why it got out of hand, they would come amongst us. We wouldn't know what their lineage is. We would just assume maybe that he's a light skinned brother, or even just another a fairly melanated brother that's of the same lineage. Because you got to stay all the way up into the 90s. These Caribbeans and these Afro Latinos, they would strictly hide their lineage, and we but actually be directed by their parents to Americanize themselves, especially that first and second generation that immigrated here. So They'll come amongst us, hang out with us, and we'll show them this, we show them that, or whatever, and then they'll take it back to their people, and then they're amongst each other saying, also under the guise that they're Americanizing themselves. So that's how it got out of hand. But us just letting that, as a collective, letting that shit fly off at the handle, people from other groups just saying nigga, 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 nigga. No, they'll say, you'll hear them saying it to each other. And then even with Fat Joe with that, with that Matt Hoffman interview where they in the barbershop and he's got nigga flying off the tongue, he's around a bunch of Caribbeans. And they're letting that fly. No, we don't get down like that. We don't let people from out, especially on a public platform, just sit here and just throw racial slurs out like that. I'm the type of brother when I hear particularly Latinos using, yo, what's up, my nigga? I just returned it. Yo, what up, my spit? Or wetback. And then I just watch their attitude change. So if you don't like me using no slur for you, don't use no slur for me. And I'll land on that.
Yeah, I was wondering, land here. I met these Cubans, and they were not black-looking Cubans, and they necessarily weren't white, but they were not black-looking Cubans. And they said the N word, and I was checking them. They was like, "Well, that's offensive." I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Well, down in Miami, we say it all the time." This was the early 2000s, y'all. Early 2000s. Okay, this was before, for me at least. I always knew Black Americans. We had our own. We were our own distinct group. I wasn't delineating then like I delineate now. And I said to them, I was like, "You say it around black people?" She was like, "Yeah, we say it all the time, and they say it back to us." I was like, "Okay, what black people are letting you say the N word?" They're like, "The neighborhood we grew up." I said, "What type of neighborhood is this?" And then she started saying, "Oh, there's a lot of Haitians and Afro Cubans, just like you said, racism." She started saying there's a lot of Caribbean blacks who kind of didn't have that same history with the word, who found it acceptable for them to say it. Well, I let them be known it's not acceptable to say it around me. Okay? Hell, I don't even let your spouse say it around. You cannot say it. And again, going back to my grandfather, he, I never heard it came out his mouth. My grandmother would have knocked the teeth out of his mouth. She would have slapped the hell out of him. I never heard him say the N word ever. And of course, my mother, him and my grandmother used to argue, get some fierce arguments all the time. And I have never heard her say that word came out his mouth. Because my grandmother was born in New York City. My great grandparents were South Carolina. My grandmother was born in New York City. And at no point did my grandfather say it, and at no point did any of the Puerto Ricans that I, knew of growing up and were around, like my grandfather's, he had a son, a young son, who's older than me. He's like my oldest brother's age. He came from New York City because he was getting in trouble up there, and then he sent him down south because they felt he would not get as much trouble down here. And he was very street, and he never let that word come out his mouth around us. Okay? And you could look at him and see that he would probably have been the type that probably would have been saying it around his peers. So my attitude, in fact, was like, who going to check me? I think even with the ones that might let him say it, which I think is unacceptable, very off cold, if he went to them though with that attitude, like who going to stop me from saying it? I'm willing to bet a lot of black New Yorkers be like, I'll stop you. Come on, let's go then. Because I bet he won't come in the street with that attitude towards black New Yorkers, especially a black American New Yorker. So I just want to state that.
And real quick, I'm just going to add to what you said real quick, Marcel. First of all, I'm talking about Fat Joe specifically. The neighborhood, because Fat Joe's from Forest Projects. 560 was his building. My grandmother lived in 620, right on the other side on 167th Street, on Trinity Avenue. So I trust me, my family's very familiar with him. But to give you the demographics for the neighborhood so we have a better understanding, that neighborhood was predominantly black American, especially when Fat Joe grew up in there. This is why when you leave and look at his hip hop career, everybody he came up with under Forest Project, Diamond D's, the Showbiz and AG and all of them, they're all black Americans. Cause that was a predominantly black American neighborhood. So you really think during the late 70s, early 80s, and mid 80s, Fat Joe was walking up and down Trinity Avenue, walking up and down 163rd Street with all those black Americans coming from that got roots in South Carolina, North Carolina, sitting up here walking up and down these streets saying my nigga, 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 nigga. No.
Absolutely not.
No, that didn't happen. He'd get his fucking teeth knocked out. He wouldn't be able to make it to 167th Street without a problem. No, that did not happen. And then once again, they're using she, and also the reason why they're more comfortable now, because especially in the Bronx, the demographics change. A lot of Black Americans, FBAs, are not in the Bronx like we used to be, and then to also add to that, why would we stay there? The Bronx was extreme, especially the South Bronx, extremely poor. You get what I'm saying? Me personally, I literally played in abandoned buildings, flipped on dirty, pissy and mattresses, played basketball on milk crates because the courts were sitting there filled with needles and dope fiends and shit like that. So who would want to stay in that environment? And then also to add to that, that same neighborhood before immigration came was a beautiful neighborhood, Marcel. My family got pictures going to the 50s of Westchester Avenue, on Bryan Avenue, etc. The neighborhood I grew up in. I'm talking about manicured grass. Parks was beautiful. The streets was clean. You could eat off the curb. Okay? So this was how can I say, this was orchestrated what happened into the Bronx. Okay, so when that happened to the Bronx and Harlem, and our neighborhoods was devastated, a lot of us, a lot of our families, like my grandfather, decided to do, say, yo, listen, I want a better living for my family. I want a home. So we moved out to Queens. We moved out to parts of Brooklyn that had homes. We moved up north, a lot of us in Yonkers, New Rochelle, etc., or out into the island and things of that nature, especially during the 70s when that heroin hit hard. You get what I'm saying? Um, they use that. They use the demographics now to say, to get comfortable, and also say, yo, look at I also heard that argument. Yo, look at the Parks. There's nothing but Puerto Ricans running around. How didn't we create hip hop? But y'all wasn't there like that in the 70s. So, so once again, this is why I'm relying on this once again. This is why we must know history. It is very important to know our history, because if we don't, people will rewrite it for us. And I'll land.
I mean, I just say real quick, I'm not trying to police. If you're going to be in this movement, just speaking about this movement, and you are not of the lineage, I don't feel that word should ever leave your mouth. And I find it very concerning because there's been a few occasions on here. Most of us don't tolerate this, but I have found some people who say they're reparationists, who claim they're part of this movement, and they're letting someone who is not of our lineage, they might be quote unquote black, but they're not of our lineage, and they're letting this person spew the N word more than any of us have ever said it. And I find that very, very off cold. A movement will fall apart if a movement doesn't have a code. It's almost like trying to have a car ride without any tires. The tires, or maybe the tires are stripped. Okay, you have to have a code. So I think, just out of respect, that word should not be leaving the mouth of anyone who's not of the lineage. I don't say the word at all, but every group has a word that a person who's outside of that group should not use because it will be considered offensive. And we are no different in that regard. And I just land there.
Say that, Marcel, brother Marcel. Say that. Yeah, I've seen it myself, and I disagree with it. Before I go to Elay the riot, unfortunately, you know, as much as a lot of people can come up here and say, "Hey, in my neighborhood, people who are not of the lineage can't say it. We'll be all up in their mouth. We'll do this. We'll do that." Unfortunately, as a Southern Californian, I can't say that about the place that I love, the home that I come from. Um, Out here, it's a lot of dudes that let that shit fly. Even OGs let that shit fly. Um, I would love to sound like y'all and say what y'all saying, man. And that, and I'm pretty sure that y'all on point and y'all on code, I envy that because, I listened to this story about Fat Joe, and it's like, damn, you had this energy growing up. You wouldn't dare say that word growing up, and you grew up with black people, right? And how do you repay us? You dropping the N bomb. You came up off of black people. You wouldn't be shit without us. You came up off of us. Now you dropping the N bomb saying can't nobody tell you shit. Of course, you only saying shit like that when you surrounded by Puerto Ricans and Caribbeans and shit. But then you trying to steal The very culture that you ate off of, that Black Americans created. You literally are trying to snatch it from us. The nerve, the level of disrespect that's had in that. You understand? But as a Southern California native, I'm talking about. I done seen dudes with street reps let this shit go because their baby mama is Mexican. You know what I'm saying? Their baby mama is Mexican, and they let the shit go. And that shit fucks with me, man, because it's like, I remember I was on a Facebook post page, and my cousin, OG got mad respect, but he got a Mexican baby mama. And so when they talked to him, it was this one Mexican chick called him the N word on a Facebook post or whatever. So I quickly responded and said, "Yo, it's crazy how people who aren't black think that it's okay to say the N word. Like, what if I called them something out of their name racially? Would that be okay?" Of course, they pretend like they didn't see the shit, but they also stopped saying the shit. But I'm like, damn, I'm getting tired of that. And what they say, when you check them, here's what they say. Here's what a Mexican will say. I can't speak for Puerto Ricans and Cubans and all that shit, but I can speak for my interactions with Mexicans. When you check them on it, they say how they grew up with black people, which is complete and utter
And
bullshit.
they
Yeah,
were racist while they was growing up with the black people.
right. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck who you grow up with. Well, my friend can let me. I said, I'm not your friend. I don't know, how much. I've even said I don't know how much of a sellout your friend is, but I'm not him, and I don't think it's okay because you're not of my people. But then as I get older, I'm like, this whole ally thing. I used to have different parameters of being an ally. Now you're immediately disqualified from being an ally. Not just the N bomb. No, no. My biggest parameter for being an ally is, do you support lineage based reparations? If you do not, then you are not an ally of Black Americans. Period. Dot. If you do not support lineage based reparations because you want you want to say the N bomb, but then you'll be like, I don't support reparations. Like now, that N bomb coming out your mouth that you want to say, that's more like the hard R. That's the hard R. I don't give a fuck if you do say it like me. You don't support my people getting their justice. So you just a damn culture vulture who wants to always also be disrespectful to my people and then explain to us why it's okay because you grew up around us. But then if you grew up around us, to know me is to love me, but you then are opposed to the justice that my people have been fighting for over a century. You're opposed to it. So, I look at things like this, the dynamics that are here. And then, of course, to Marcel's point before I land, um, people in the movement, having a code of conduct, right? Having a code, being on code. Yeah, we can't survive without it. And so if you have a friend who ain't of the lineage saying the N bomb and you done been told and your ass is still intent on letting that shit slide or whatever and all that, people need to look at you sideways and keep on riding on you until you correct yourself. Because if your people of the lineage say this ain't cool, then that's just what the fuck it is. And that's it.
And man, I'm gonna be very quick, because y'all know my spouse is Nigerian, and one time I saw a post where he was using the word. It was like this was a while ago, and I went ballistic. I went ballistic. I was like, say a word around me, you might get your tongue cut out. I was like, that should not leave your mouth either. But then he said that I guess a friend of his has a Nigerian spouse or some. I mean, I'm sorry, a Black American spouse, and they said it's okay as long as you're not white. Okay, no, hell no. You see, that's what you just, Amber, you just made a point. Some of these people are desperate for sexual access because they can't get any from anyone else. I guess I don't have that problem. I made it clear to my spouse I could fire up an app and be good. Okay, I'm not desperate for sexual access. So if some people are willing to degrade themselves because they're so desperate for sexual access, I don't speak like this, but I'm going to speak like this on this occasion. You really need to step your game up then. If you are that desperate, I'm not going to let no damn person degrade me or degrade my people because I'm that damn horny and I can't get anyone else. So therefore, I have to resort to being degraded by some goddamn immigrant. Some of them only came here to leech off of America. Some of them can't stand your people, and you're willing to sit there and let yourself be degraded. And there have been people on this app who are in the movement that have literally admitted, and these particular people have Latinas as the mother of their children, that they let them say the N word, or they have previously. They might be stopping them now. I can never imagine being that desperate. Okay? And I'm not trying to make it like I'm God's gift to humanity. No. But I am never that desperate for sexual access. So if a person is that desperate for sexual access, take it from me, a person who does not put himself out there as a person who should be giving advice on how to pull people. But I will definitely say you really need to step your game up. Because I ain't never in my life been that damn desperate that I'm going to let someone disrespect me or disrespect my people. Because when I think of my people, I'm thinking of my mother, my aunts, my sister, my brothers, my great grandmothers, all these people that I love, and that would be like, you disrespect them, and that's not about to happen. So those OGs up there in California who are so desperate for sexual access that they're letting people who despise them, despise their people, degrade them, that's pathetic, and they need to stand the hell up.
Yeah, it is pathetic. It is very much so pathetic.
And
Yeah,
ain't nothing that good in the world that I'm gonna tolerate that. Ain't
nah.
no dick that good. Ain't no ass that good. Ain't no pussy that good. Ain't nothing that good that I'm gonna tolerate that. Hell no.
Yeah, but I see a lot of people going off code for sexual access.
I do
Just
too.
for all different types of sexual access, and this could be these. Sometimes these people be other FBA people, but they be
Yes,
off
they do.
code, and they will embrace somebody and bring them into a circle, and that person is causing confusion because they are an op, but somebody be wanting to have sex with them. So you know they end up causing a whole lot of problems because and making you go along for the ride with those people because they with somebody who they shouldn't be with. I ain't talking about nobody in general, but it's something that I've seen happen. So yeah, it does happen. It don't happen with just tethers. Well, it don't happen with just immigrants. It happens within the
Yeah,
culture
I'm talking
too.
about us, how we are selling out our people because we want sexual access with people who are not ours. So we let them degrade us by saying the N word and stuff like that. And I made it clear I ain't one of those people. I can always go out there and get something else. Don't you ever think I'm that damn desperate. I ain't desperate at all here. So you met other black Americans who are like that? Like this, my spouse saying this other Nigerian has a black American spouse, talking about it's okay for him to say it. You ain't dealing with one of those black Americans. I made that very clear. You ain't dealing with one of those at all.
I would never even think that you would do something like that though myself. I would never even think that about you. So Ely, would you like to speak?
Yeah. How y'all doing? What up, though? What up, though?
Peace.
Hey, look, hey, look, man. Like, I didn't see the movie and shit because I had to work and everything. But, like, say for instance, two Mexicans, two Latinos, right? Say they were part of hip hop, right? They try to make it seem like all of them work. They don't fuck with us. They never have. They come here and put shit aside for their own people. What bruh just did was set a war off. Now I think it's time to get the young up and coming artists to speak on this money now. You know what I'm saying? Get these young up and coming artists be like, hey bro, you need to stop putting all that murder, kill shit and talk about some Tupac stuff. You know what I'm saying? Everybody imitating Tupac, the violent side, but they're not imitating the war side. Like Dr. Claude Anderson, he's a warrior. You know what I'm saying? What we're doing is going to bring a war to us, to our front doors with this reparations thing. And the music is intellectual property. You know what I'm saying? That will be around forever. So they were trying to, these white motherfuckers were trying to set it up to where 20 years from now, Tupac white. 50 years from now, Aretha Franklin was white. 100 years from now, Martin Luther King was white. You see what I'm saying? They're trying to control they're trying to time travel us. You know what I'm saying? Control the present so the future you won't know about. Just like when we went to school, we never learned about the Black Wall Street or any of that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we'd have learned about that from elementary all the way up to high school, we would have been more furious with our adversaries out here. They wouldn't have been able to get into our neighborhoods. And they trying to use that rap music as a way to ease their way up into our lifestyle so they can replace us. And it was a big chess move with this movie. Now we got to carry that shit on through the business sector, through the educational sector. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, me coming from Detroit. See, my grandfather went to the same high school I went to in 1930, and they helped start the Motown era. My mother and my dad went to elementary school and middle school and high school with all the Temptations, all them people. They some old people. They went to high school with all them people. And my old bird and my old dudes used to be like, man, this shit's changing. They like I used to listen to Michael Jackson and stuff. Then hip hop came back in the early '80s. I started listening to that, but I never let go of the R&B sector or the jazz sector or the scat music and all the other stuff. And they've been slowly trying to replace us through this intellectual property, man. This is intellectual property. This is something that will be around forever. So I'm saying, you see what I'm saying? So if they say the Latinos did this, did this, and they controlling the radios and they controlling the music industry, so the next CEO could be like, oh, I'm just gonna give a Latino rapper a $20 million deal. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't going down like that. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, man, everybody can take this energy and use it in their lives. You know what I'm saying? The movie, it's cool, but we got to check all these motherfuckers from the Arabs all the way down to the Asians to everything. You know what I'm saying? And from what I heard, it was a big turnout up in the D. You know what I'm saying? A lot of folks who didn't even know about the reparations thing was like, they was getting informed about all the aspects of why bruh is doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just for entertainment. It's just to let y'all know a war coming. You know, so it's gonna be a big economic war coming our way. And it starts with the intellectual property, which is the music, which is what runs this world. Books and music. You know what I'm saying? So that's about it though. We good though. We good. You know what I'm saying? So them like they ain't talking about nothing. They ain't talking about nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's about it though. I'm at work though, so I'm gonna hurry to get off this damn mic.
Hey man, I appreciate that, man. You cook, man. I thank you for your patience too, number one. But then when you got on the mic, man, you did your thing. So, um, yeah, no, absolutely. And you're right. Before I get to Racer Bold, the erasure that they're talking about, they're trying to push this cultural erasure thing. It's big, and you said it begins with the intellectual property, right? This is in stages, and we've been the victims of a multi-tier effort in which to not just undermine us to get rid of us. They want us gone. We are a problematic population because we fight. You know, we hold America to the standard that it shows itself to be on the world stage and that it's been on paper. Martin Luther King, just do what you said on paper. That's a quote from Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King. I can hear ink in my ear right now. We say Dr. Martin Luther King in this space. But yeah, Dr. Martin Luther King. You know, it's a quote from him, and that's important. Because they want us out the way. These other groups, they come here to eat. We say it all the time, but they do. They come here to eat, and they have no problem eating off of what was fought for by Black Americans, while at the same time saying that we complain, saying that we, not only we complain, but that we're lazy. They will repeat all the tropes, but of course try to reap all the benefits of what was worked for with all that complaining, being the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. You know what I'm saying? All of those things, those efforts that gained them the access to things that they wanted and to have a faster pathway to resources and to even be allowed in this country, they undermine. They undermine the people that fought for those things, and that's who we are in our spirit. When something ain't right, we're gonna speak on it. We're gonna fight for it. We're gonna keep pushing. Even now, we have a society that people are running to from their own society. And us, we know it's not perfect, but they get here and they'll just, they're cool with it because they're like, it's not the hell that I came from. So let me run here. Hey, you guys are complaining. You don't appreciate what America is. And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Appreciate it. We worked for it. We died for this. Our our ancestors died for this and still never got their due. What the fuck you mean we don't appreciate? You are appreciative because you're getting something for nothing. You didn't put in on this, man. We didn't put in on this. Your people didn't die for this. Your people didn't run over here to help fight. You just came over here to eat, and that's the truth of it. Now, you can have a certain approach to it, but we have a different approach to it. Never getting our due, being the ones who fought for it, never being paid for our labor, being able to pass on wealth, all of those things. And when we're talking about erasure, allowing people in our culture, and then those people try to take our culture, turn it into something else, and then push us out of it, the level of evil in that. I mean, they're doing it while the people are still alive and breathing, while the founders are still alive and breathing. These idiots are trying to say that these founders didn't do what they did. What's documented? There are recordings that are in existence now that are dated. You know, Pygmy Markham's. Here comes the judge. When you listen to that and you throw it in, it not only does it predate Rapper's Delight. In many ways, he's flowing better than they are. If you really listen to it, it ain't just like Pygmy Markham is, by the time he makes that recording, is a veteran. It was 1967. Believe it got released in 1968. This is when Kool Herc is just arriving in America as a young teenager who didn't have no turntables. Pygmy Markham has made a hip hop, a rap record on a boom bap type beat and he is riding the out of that beat and he's killing it. But not only that, he has emotion and intonation in the rhyming. That's not they didn't even have that on Rapper's Delight the way that he had it. He had like the way he was coming on off the mic, the way he was just getting it. I'm like, and of course he had been doing vaudeville and performing on the Chitlin circuit for several decades since he was like a teenager, I believe. So by the time he's like, I think he was in his mid to late 60s when he makes the album, when he makes that record. He'd been doing it for a long time. That record's very important. It's dated before they said the birth date of hip hop, and it's more proof of how hip hop stands on cultures that preceded it that are also solely Black American. They always want to give it to the Bronx, but the Bronx, being the birthplace of hip hop, is just the place where all the elements came together. What preceded that date is a very rich and beautiful culture that has a musical creative lineage that they never want to talk about. They never address that. It's like hip hop stands on something, and that something is even more rich than hip hop itself. And to leave that out of it is criminal. And of course, they do it because if you reference what hip hop stands on, then you're already giving away the death of your agenda, which is that these are Black American art forms. They stand on this, and irrefutably, they don't come from these islands. They don't come from the motherland or nothing like that. It comes from here, from the people who've been here since before the founding of this country. And I land my plane there. Go ahead, Racebo.
Yeah, real quick. Just to tackle what I was talking about when it came to this interracial this sexual access thing, man. That's one of the issues with. I mean, one of the issues I had with some of the brothers that came to the premiere microphone check. It was like at least 3, 4 brothers pulling up with their Becky, and I get the fact that everybody's welcome. But yo, these are to this is for the brothers that you might be dating, or sisters too. You might be dating somebody that's outside the lineage, or outside the race, what have you. Y'all have to start understanding that certain spaces that we have to keep for ourselves. Leave your significant other at home sometime. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes our space is for us, and that irks me that you got always got these brothers in particular. They sleeping with these Beckys or whoever, and then every time there's a black space going on, you gotta bring them. You get what I'm saying? But when it comes to reparations, there ain't the other thing that our people got going on a micro level. Y'all ain't around at all. So I take offense to that shit. Um, Secondly, I put in the jumbo trying to answer your question, average, about Puerto Ricans in particular, how they would respond to being addressed about throwing around the N bomb, and for the most part, uh now they would basically just tell you they're black, and that's the 3 card Monty game. But somebody that's really your friend, because I had this issue with one of my Puerto Rican friends, and this is why I consider him my friend. When I addressed him about it, this is what his exact words. He said, "Marley Marl, you know." I'm kind of doxing myself right there because that's what he called me. But anywho, he said, "Yo, I don't mean to offend you when I say that, but I'm conditioned to say that because I was raised around y'all. But if it offends you, I'll go out my way not to say it around you. And I didn't mean to offend you in any way when I said it. But I'm conditioned to say it as well. But I'll do my best not to say it around you." When he told me that, I said, "Don't worry about it. You can say it." To me, you get what I'm saying? Because I know it's not coming from a hateful or racial place, and I understand the way that he grew up. But I don't give him the pass for them to collectively say it, nor do I give him a pass to say it to anybody else. Now, if you want to address me like that as my friend, then that's our personal business. But you can't address everybody widespread like that, and I know he understands that. But that answer that he gave me, I can respect that answer, and this is why we're still friends to this day. But if he would have just said some bullshit like, "Yo, I'm black too," or "Yo, we all the same," and all the uh, 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 deflective excuses, then our relationship probably wouldn't be the same, and I'll be looking at them different. So so understand that dynamic. But to make it even more clear, I put in the jumbotron a clip from a movie called Short Eyes, and I actually suggest everybody watch this movie. And it's also starring our good brother Curtis Mayfield, and I believe this is his only movie premiere. This is the only movie he's ever been acting in, and it's on YouTube, so you can watch it for free. You ain't got to pay no cash. And so I suggest I'll advocate for anybody to get a chance to check out this movie. Now, in this particular clip I put in the jumbotron, these are supposed to be two white men having a conversation about Puerto Ricans in their conversation, but this perspective should be looked at from this should be looked at from our perspective as well. Now, before anybody can sit here and try to flip it and say, "Oh, this whole dialogue is racist or it's out of context, there's no nuance to it." A Puerto Rican dude wrote this movie, and he's responsible for the script, and he wrote the dialogue in it. So you're actually getting the mindset of a Puerto Rican from a Puerto Rican through the mouth of two white men. So when you get a chance to give you some insight on the psychology of how some Puerto Ricans think, check this clip out, and I'll end there.
Raceable, it's very interesting what you said because I saw, and like I said, y'all, I don't investigate these things; they just pop up on my timeline. And I saw an interview with Cardi B, and they asked her about her use of the N word, and she said, unfortunately, she said it's unfortunate. She said, but that she is conditioned to saying it, and that it's become a part of her repertoire of words. And I remember people were dragging her about that, at least here on Twitter. And she didn't say what Fat Joe or that what's that 6ix9ine, what's that whatever that rapper up there, who they was like, well, who gonna stop me from saying it? She was like, it's unfortunate. She said, I've been so conditioned to saying it. She said, because everyone says it up in New York. She said that it's just natural. She said, it's unfortunate that she says that. So that's made me think of that. But I do want to break something out. And those of you who have been around Latinos, you know this is true. And if you have not been around them, you've just done some studying into Latin American history, you know this is true. Puerto Ricans, since we're focusing on them, are extremely anti-black, and you can tell that by the way they treat black Puerto Ricans. My grandfather talked about how differently he was treated because he is a black man. He had quote unquote black physical features. Matter of fact, I will put a picture of him up in the jumbotron because I posted on my Twitter before, and he's holding me as a baby, and you could a person will probably mistake him for being my biological grandfather almost. His siblings were far lighter. Okay? One of his sisters looked damn white. And he said he was treated differently. Okay, here it is. I'm putting a photo of him in the Jumbotron. He had his big afro. He was dark skinned. He was treated differently. So I do find it disingenuous with Puerto Ricans when they try to say, well, we're black too. But look at how you treat the actual black Puerto Ricans. Mejorando la Raza is something that is throughout the Spanish speaking and Portuguese speaking, even though it's not necessarily Mejorando la Raza in Portuguese, but it's the same phrase. It's a mindset that exists throughout all of Latin America. So if they want to try to use that, well, we're black too. So yeah, you could say that hip hop's a black thing. That's why we got to get away from saying black all the time, y'all. It's a black American thing, an FBA thing, a freedman thing, because they'll pull that one. And I've heard that Dr. Cologne. I don't follow him, but I always hear what's going on with him. They're trying to pull that. Well, you see, it is a black thing. Puerto Ricans, a lot of them that were involved were black. And yes, there were black Puerto Ricans, but even they came along later. Because the truth be told, a lot of the elements that would converge in New York City and become the hip hop culture, they started in the South, especially in the Carolinas, North Carolina and South Carolina. And there were no damn Puerto Ricans here at all. So yeah, when they want to use that disingenuous, oh, Puerto Ricans are black, first of all, not all of you are, and the way you treat black Puerto Ricans are despicable. 'Cause my grandfather told us many experiences he had where he was treated in a derogatory manner because he was black and looked blacker than all of his siblings.
Damn, that's a good point too. Yeah, they treat their own very badly. You know, I think about the Argentinians. You know, who at one point had a 13% black population, and now it's all but non-existent in Argentina. And you know, I remember when you said that. I think that mejorar la raza. You know, very popular saying. I believe you made a post like about a year ago because I made a post similar and I put it up using the same painting you put up. There's a painting, I think it's called The Gift or something like that. And in that painting, I was like, my son laughing at me. In that painting, there's a baby. And there's a generational thing. And I believe it was like during slavery time. It's a dark skinned mother, and she has a biracial daughter, I guess. And then the child that the biracial daughter has is with a white man. The grandmother in the picture, the dark skinned grandmother in the picture, is thanking God for this baby that looks white. It's thanking God for it. It's a lot in that painting.
Yes, it's a famous Brazilian painting,
Yeah.
and the painting was used to show just how stigmatized blackness is in Brazil. But let me tell y'all something funny. You know the replacement theory, and I'm sorry, Average, I don't want to take over.
What happened? You went out. You went out.
No, I was going to say it's very funny. Latin America is a good peek into what they're trying to do with us, what America has tried before and did, hell, and how it always fails. America imported a lot of Europeans as well because they wanted to try to widen their population. It happened through all of Latin America. The Dominican Republic did it, Cuba did it, Brazil did it. And yet, how funny, you go to Cuba, you still, and I've never been to Cuba, but I know of a lot of people who have. But even the Cuban studies, the Cuban Institute for Cuban Studies in Miami, they reported that like 79% of Cuba's population is black or what they said phenotypically black. Brazil's black population has been soaring. Latin America's population as a whole has been getting blacker. One, because of high immigration rates here to the US. That's one. And funny, when they come to America, they have less children. Two, also because Latin America is dealing with a massive Haitian migration crises. Like there are Haitian communities throughout all of Latin America, and it's making their populations even blacker. Here in America, we know they've tried to do the replacement theory with us, or they've tried to widen their population. Every time countries have tried that, it's always failed, and it actually is making their population blacker. The people who end up being erased are the white people. If you look at statistics right now, I don't know why we as black people think that we're having so many interracial children. We're not. I think they said of marriages, interracial marriages, only like 11%. are black people with a person that's not black. The majority of interracial marriages occur among Asians and among people who identify as Hispanic. Now, Hispanic is not a racial category, so you can take your guess as to which race these Hispanics might be. But Asian Hispanics marry out more than any other group in the United States of America and have children from people who are not of their group more than any other group in America. And a lot of them are having them from white people. The non-Hispanic white population, and y'all can look this up yourselves, and I don't feel like finding it, because sometimes it just gets stressful trying to dig things up. The non-Hispanic white population dropped, do not quote me on the number, I think it was 19% or was it 29%? Dropped. Their population dropped by 19 to 29%. So if you take out white Hispanics, the non-Hispanic white population has been cratering, whereas our numbers, around 50 million or so, has increased by 40%. And that's without us having, you cannot import a black American population. We only multiply through birth. So even with us not having our people flooding through the border coming into the country here, our population has still expanded. So anytime they've tried to do their little replacement theory, they've always ended up decimating their own population. And that's happening now. And it's unfortunate that the good white people are having to suffer, but really the white population brought it upon themselves, because had they listened to black American icons like Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington, who have been saying for a long time how harmful immigration is to the U.S., and they would have kept a pause on immigration like they did from 1920 to the 1960s, where our wages increased faster than at any other time period, we would not have this problem. But one of the reasons why a lot of those people in government have allowed immigration to get out of control, yes, cheap labor is one of those reasons. Yes. However, the main reason is anti-blackness. They thought it was just going to hurt us. They thought it was going to be sticking it to us. They thought that they were going to keep us to the bottom and still somehow get the best of both worlds. Get the cheap labor. Really, it was free labor they were getting from us. Well, it wasn't free, but they ain't paid us for it yet. So, from their perspective, it was free. They thought, well, let's stick it to these blacks. Let's import some cheap labor and let's not do a damn thing for these black. And now they are causing themselves to go extinct. Because when you have dropped by either damn near 20% or damn near 30%, you are in a demographic crisis. And that's because these same immigrants, illegal and even legal, that they're allowing to come over here are decimating their population, because their white daughters are not having children from these other white sons. Their white daughters are having children from Hispanic men who are non-white, from Black American men, from anyone who's not a white man. And when they don't have children from white men, you got white women who are going down to Florida. I'm sorry, going down to Mexico and Colombia, getting their tubes tied because they refuse to have children. They brought it upon themselves. So anytime they've tried to do the replacement theory against us, it's always backfired and it ends up hurting them. Because we gonna be good. There ain't nothing we can't survive. I don't know why some of our people, air quotes, freak out about, oh, Trump might win, or oh, even us with if so Joe Crow Biden wins another term, yeah, it's gonna be awful. He's going to continue allowing this invasion to happen. But what we've survived worse already. We have survived far worse. And I land there.
You said a word. You said a word. I'm so glad. I love talking about population because we always talk about us and then we talk about the other people, but we don't talk about what other people are actually going through. And it's 29%, Brother Marcel. It's 29% from what I saw. I believe, I think it was Mexico. I believe they're down 29%. I think it's Mexico.
Oh yes, Latin America's population is nosediving.
Yeah. And people aren't like looking at this. It's like this is a really big thing. They're not having kids like that. I'm in California. And this is the place where you have multi generational Latin populations. You have Latinos that have been here for 100 years, and it's different. You hear them tell their story, and it's like, well, yeah, my parents had 3 or 4 kids. My grandmother, she had 5 or 6 kids, but they just be having 1 or 2 kids. That's just what it is, and that's not replacement level. You have to have at least 3 children to be at a replacement level. I mean, the number is 2.1. The average, of course, nobody can have 2.1 children. You have to have more than two. We know what that is. That's three. So if you don't have three, you are not at replacement level. If you don't have 3 children tied to your body that you biologically had, you have to have at least three in order to be at that replacement level to keep the, and everybody has to, some of us will do the more of the work. Some of us will have 5 kids and 6 or 7 kids. Some of us will have 1 or 2 kids. But that's an important number because there's no state in America where white women are having children at replacement level.
Nope, not one. And then when it comes to Black Americans, there's 28 states where we're at replacement level. I think, remember, again, Hispanic is not a racial category,
Right.
but when it comes to Hispanics, I think it's 29. So Black Americans are at 28, Hispanics are at 29. But let me say this, a lot of those Mexicans that are multi generational, a lot of immigrants, period, that are multi generational from Latin America, a lot of them despise this mass immigration
Thank
invasion
you.
that's happening right now. They are actually just as upset about it as are we. I promise you, I speak to them all the time. They even say that they feel like they're being replaced. So imagine that.
Oh, it's a crazy dynamic. Yeah. California, once again, I be trying to tell people they are very anti-immigration. I don't know how. I don't know why. It doesn't make no sense to me. I'm like your grandmother, your great grandmother, your great grandparents. They came here the same way these cats are coming here now. They're of your same ethnic group. Like, 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 why are you against them coming over? Me. I know what my issues are with it. Especially illegal immigration. But I don't know why they have one. But they be like outward about it. They don't have no problem being on that. People be like, oh, man, the Mexicans this, the Mexicans that, bro. The Chicanos, that category, the ones who were born here, they ain't fucking with it. Most of them are not fucking with this immigration thing. They just really ain't for it. They don't like it. It's really a thing. It's really a thing. And they another thing too, these populations that immigrate here, they might be Democrat voting in that first generation, but they initially they will go conservative later. The ones that have been here, second, third generation, they're more likely to lean conservative later. They trend conservative later. The first generation trends, Democratic, but in more liberal. And so these dynamics and in the population, what happens? People who are afraid of the incoming populations need to understand exactly what you're dealing with and what their issues are too. And then once again, yeah, Hispanic, it's not a race, it's a culture, and they have inter ethnic issues, you know what I'm saying, within the Hispanic, group. So, Mexicans ain't really fucking with Puerto Ricans like that. Dominicans and Cubans and all, everybody is their own group. They not like just one big massive, Hispanic. It's not like that. They are different, basically different tribes, different ethnic groups who have their own specific things and their own, cultures, and even have certain rivalries. And I mean, Mexicans are about a roughly half of the Hispanic group in America. And they largely call all the other Hispanics the N word when they started having racial moments. They look at them like the N word, yeah. I've seen them. They Puerto Ricans. Puerto Ricans are N words. It's like you can look it up on the internet. There's comments on Twitter. There's videos and shit. That's just what it is. They don't fuck with each other like that. So because I hear people having this fear, as Marcel was kind of talking to about what's happening, what's coming, and all of that, but you don't know the racial dynamics. Me, I live in the belly of the beast, and if you notice, a lot of Black Californians ain't scared, ain't like, oh my God, this man, you man, that's why I'm voting for Trump, and I get it, but like Marcel said, we've survived worse, and I think it's a great strategy to not just give somebody our vote because we're concerned, because there's always going to be a boogeyman on either side of the political line that the other one can point to and say, hey, if you vote for him, this is going to happen. What's going to stop the Republicans from saying, hey, if you vote Democrat, They're gonna let over a whole bunch of illegals that's gonna take your job if y'all just give them the vote for nothing. Like, you ain't negotiating nothing. Me, I have a higher standard. I'm not voting for you if you ain't got nothing tangible for my people, especially seeing as how my people have been so loyal to America, have fought for a better American society, have saved America in the Civil War, and so on and so forth. So no, I'm asking for something for my vote, and if you're not going to give it, then it's looking like the couch for me, and I'll deal with the consequences of whoever wins. Because ultimately, if we don't show up in massive numbers, it'll show the side that loses that our vote is very valuable because it costs them the White House. So there's a strategy in that, in taking that hit in order to make a point, because somebody's going to take a hit along with us. We ain't going to just take a hit alone. Somebody taking that shit with us. And so they're going to see, you know what, this next time around, we're going to have to come with something. We're going to have to come with something because they didn't show up and we lost this race. And if you do it consciously, if you don't just do it by happenstance, but make a concerted effort to not show up and to make sure people have consequences for not bringing something to the table to you, then the next time they come to the table, they're going to come with something. They're going to come more correct. And so, because I know there's a strategy out there of just voting red, and I'm like, bruh, we're Black Americans. We've been through some really rough shit. This is a cakewalk compared to the shit that we've been through in times past. And we've been through this actually before, but worse. Those white peasants that came up in goddamn boats in Ellis Island that was attacking us and doing all type of shit and protected by the law, that was far worse during Jim Crow than it is now. And I ain't saying that now is just easy peasy, but in comparison, it's far better now than it was back then. And if that blood runs through our veins and that truly is our makeup, our stock, then tighten up your belts and be ready, to grab your balls and tell them, look, man, I cannot be moved. I'm not gonna just give you my fucking vote for nothing and deal with the consequences later. And I know some people are gonna disagree with that, but god damn it, what are we doing giving people our vote for nothing because we afraid of the other side? That's not a good strategy at all. Go ahead, brother Marcel.
I was thinking the way Tariq has lit a fire with this film Microphone Check, there are many other messages that we need to get out to the masses, y'all. And I'm just feeling like Tariq is doing his part. And I know we're all doing our part on our different avenues, but I think we need to sometimes ask ourselves, can any of us do a larger part? Because this message needs to get out as well. This message about the harmfulness of mass immigration. This message about even, studying how other groups feel so comfortable. And the microphone check touches on this a lot. I haven't seen it, but obviously the whole gist of microphone check is about how we are gatekeeping our culture for people trying to colonize our culture, trying to damn steal it. Well, why do people feel so comfortable thinking they can just come in on things that are meant for us, started by us, done by us, and think they can take a claim to it? Who the hell tells someone they could just go around saying the N word? And it doesn't happen a lot in a lot of regions, but apparently in some regions it does happen. These are messages that you put out there to the masses because I don't think a lot of our people are that comfortable with letting people who are at least non-black and a parent say the N-word, a black immigrant. I don't even. Growing up, that was never even a conversation to have had. It's not even a conversation now. I just have never heard a black immigrant say that word around me. But I'm sure in other areas it probably happens. There are so many things that we need to get out to the masses, that we need to have our people educated and on code. Sometimes this makes me feel like more of us need to step up to help get these messages out there. Because Tariq, I mean, really, really put a lot of work into Microphone Check. I'm sure like he puts a lot of work into his films. They're very quality products. But there are so many other stories that need to be told that I'm wondering who of us will step up to help tell some of these other stories and get them out there to the masses, because it needs to happen. Because I can tell y'all right now, these schools ain't teaching a damn thing. And really, to be honest with you, I would not expect them to teach these things. Most educators are white women. And if they're not racist, some of them are just not informed. They're not educated on our stories. They're not. But the scarier part Is there we have parents and grandparents and even great grandparents who are not teaching our kids a damn thing. I'm telling you, they're not. When I have a group of students, majority black students, and they've never heard of Stevie Wonder, okay? I have a fifth grade class, and about a third of them were black. The white kids, the kids who were of Hispanic ethnicity, even the black Hispanic, I was not surprised they had never heard of Stevie Wonder. But when my black children had never heard of Stevie Wonder, and a lot of them are around their parents and their grandparents, some even live around their great grandparents or great grand aunts, and they've never heard of Stevie Wonder, that's a problem. Okay? Like that is that's cultural education that our children need to get. And it's not happening. I'm telling y'all, I live in the coast here of South Carolina. We're Gullah Geechee people. And yet when I say to some of my black students, Gullah, they're like, what's that? Our people are dropping the damn ball with passing down important nibbits of culture. Now, in some cases, they don't know themselves because they weren't taught a damn thing. But there are cases where they know and they're just not making a conscious effort to teach their children. We need to be conscious and we need to be intentional about teaching our children about our culture. And that's why it's so important to have people like Tariq who's putting this out here in the atmosphere. But we can't just rely on Tariq. It needs to be a hell of a lot more of us. We cannot just be comfortable being the supporters of a project. Some of us, a lot of us, are going to have to step up and be the creators, the producers, the initiators of a project. A lot of us are too comfortable just sitting back being the supporter. We're going to have to step up and be the producer and the creator.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Man, you up here cooking, man. Yeah, we do need more people, to do that. This culture thing too, passing down culture. That's a really big thing because I'm always talking about Southern California, but it's a lot of young Mexican kids that listen to oldies. That's a big thing for Mexicans. You know, black black men who are in
Oh,
their
average. Hold
80s.
on, real quick too. On the note of Mexicans, and they look down on other Hispanics. It's kind of funny you mention that because most Hispanic groups they think Mexicans are like the bottom of the bottom when it comes to the Hispanic hierarchy. Like the Central Americans, Caribbean, so the Spanish Caribbean, South Americans, they all look down on Mexicans. That's an issue we have had in the school where I formerly taught. We had a large Hispanic population and a lot of the Mexican kids who were the majority, but they would sometimes get into conflict with the other Hispanic students. And when people were trying to mediate and try to get to the bottom of what was taking place, the Mexican kids would say, people are always taking shots at us about being Mexican. Like they always are insulting us. And of course, I'm sure it was done the other way around too. But yeah, I just want to bring that up.
Oh yeah, and a lot of it has to do with proximity too. Mexicans can get to America, have the easiest path to America than other groups do, and I think it's not when it comes to Mexico, it's not as much of a brain drain as it is to other places. They're at least traditionally, not today. But they could send over the lower dredges of their society, or they could get over here a lot easier from Mexico because it was all kind of different breaches. You could just be here, and that was that. Other places, the more south you go, they it wasn't as easy of a path here. But also too, we talking about what was I talking about? Let me see. Where did I last leave off? Culture. So, you know, us passing on our culture or not passing on our culture, you know, big thing. And Mexicans, like I said, they be in the oldies and shit. Black men in their 80s, they in their 80s and 90s now, damn near, was cutting their springs in Southern California and low riding, and we moved on to something else. You know what I'm saying? The oldies or whatever, oldie Motown, and even just some of the old things that were, from the '50s, little doo wop era and all of that. Mexicans be playing the shit out of that still, The young ones even be playing oldies. I'm talking about kids in their teens be knowing oldies better than black kids in their teens out here. Me, I know my oldies. I know my music. I was blessed to have a mother who force fed that shit to me, on them Sunday mornings cleaning or whatever. All kind of oldies. I'm talking about going back, and I'm so thankful that she did. It made me fall in love with previous eras, and that's so important. My children know some of the people who came well before, who were even before when I was born. That's very important because these are our songs. These are our folk songs, even. You feel me? These are the things that are us. They come from us, and it's not old. It's not passe. Like, oh, I mean, why are you playing that, man? Them motherfuckers is a bop, bro. And they on YouTube. A lot of this is on YouTube. Like I play Smokestack Lightning at least once or twice a week. You know what I'm saying? That's an old blues song, by Howlin' Wolf. Okay, if y'all watch the movie Cadillac Records, there's a scene where a brother is, in Cadillac Records, him and Muddy Waters have a little issue, and Howlin' Wolf kind of takes his woman and lets her sit in the studio while he's recording Smokestack Lightning and all of that, and Muddy Waters shows the gun in his waist or whatever, and it's a little bit of Hollywood, put in there, but that song, if you hear it, you can hear there's a live version where Howlin' Wolf goes to London and records it, and it's an old ass recording. It's like the '60s. Doing live Smokestack Lightning. By that time, it was many years old. Um, but to me, it's a bop. I be hearing that shit, man. I be feeling that shit. And this is a song that was made, 20, 30 years before I was born. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. And it's a lot of old blues songs. You need to just get into them and listen to them and just respect the lineage, the musical lineage that birthed the art forms that we listen to now. Because that is our music. We can't abandon it or leave it or pretend like it's old because we into something new or whatever. I'm almost forced to listen to older things now because the music today is so trash that in order to get some enjoyment out of what I'm listening to, I got to listen to older stuff. And I'm really the words, the artistry of the musicians that were playing, the backing tracks. It's beautiful, man. And I tell anybody, put your kid in a class that has musical history that goes through it. If you can't teach it themselves, then make sure that they have, a class that goes back with the lineage of music. These documentaries that are coming out, Dewan B is working on a massive project concerning musical lineage, and he has an incredible amount of knowledge. You go on his space, you can ask him something. He's like an encyclopedia for music, and it's incredibly important. There's so much in there. There's so much beautiful nutrients in there that you learn about your people that you just get to hold on to. It's yours. It's your people's work. It's one of the few things they allowed us to really do and flourish at before they decided to really put their fingers in the music industry and corrupt it with smut. When they allowed just more free creation that they were just trying to monetize because it was just this new thing, it was beautiful. There was a time where you had multiple genres coexisting very strong. You had jazz, blues, rock and roll, R&B, country, all coexisting. You know what I'm saying? And Ray Charles was one of the biggest genre jumpers, of all time. He was doing all of these things, these different genres, different songs and different genres, and killing it. And they all coexisted. And he could chart in different ones. So who we are culturally, that's a small part of it, but it's an important part of it. Listening to the music and going way back, and then teaching our children, because nobody else is going to teach our children our history. A part of being a Black American is being taught by your parents the hidden history they try to keep you from learning, the different things that you're never going to learn in school. And music is a grand part of that. And the beautiful thing is, so much of it is accessible on almost every streaming platform. It's on YouTube. You can see live clips, old stuff, old interviews. Man, they got stuff that's damn near 100 years old, like even video. They got early clips from early movies when film was barely made that you can go back and see. You can go see the Nicholas Blood brothers dancing in the movie. I believe it was Stormy Weather. Great number with Cab Calloway, killing it. Dancers, killing it. These is like some of the original break dancers going way back, and they are some of the best dancers of all time. It's so much culture. Even when you go back, my mom used to force me to listen. I watched Cabin in the Sky. That's an old ass film. Man, it's another one. Porgy and Bess, you can't find that no more. It's an old classic. But Carmen, it's all kind of old ass movies that you can see that just kind of show you what it was during the times and the artistry. So yeah, I love that point being made in the art that is talked about. And it's not just in today. It's actually more rich art history the further you go back. And during a time when they were choking, literally choking the life out of us, we still had enough wherewithal to make beautiful creations. And it's good to like just hear that, hear how great and dynamic your people were at some of the worst times in American history. Could still make beautiful music and go out and live their life. And hell, that music probably was helping to get them through. So, what's up, G Money? How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, Nikki, Av, Willie, and all the listeners. Yeah, just listening, man, taking it in. um, yeah, we gotta kind of gatekeep everything at this point. Listening to the conversation, um, you know, like especially our culture, more importantly. But to your point, Av, about the political talk you were talking. Yeah, I'm gonna be the voting for the recliner, Lazy Boy. I'm voting Lazy Boy this year. But I've always said this, that black people need to remove themselves from both of these parties, because I remember hearing this statement. Both of these parties are two wings of the same dirty bird. So I try to make sense of why people want to go to the other side. It makes sense in a sense, in a technical sense. Yeah, let me try something else. But at this point in time, we know the Republicans aren't going to do anything. The Democrats aren't doing anything. So why would I go trade one plantation for another plantation, or even worse plantation? I've always said that we as black people need to remove ourselves from the process of voting at this point in time, to your point, to see the pain from either side. The Democrats, you need us in order to win. The For the Republicans, you need us not to vote in order to win. So I'm looking at that. All right. So if they need us for this and this and that, if we fucking collectively sit out, that puts the pressure on the parties at this point. You know, oh, if we're not gonna fucking, if the Democrats give something to these people, they're gonna come out in droves. Well, maybe we need to get ahead of that. That's the Republicans. Oh shit! If the black people don't vote, we're gonna lose. They need to put out incentives. It's leverage, and our vote is the leverage. They don't. I heard my boy Black and Power. They're not putting out millions of dollars to stop the vote for nothing. So obviously that works. But if we as black people collectively say, you know what, we're going to step away from this process to because at this point in time, we've tried everything. We've had black political people on each side of the aisle, and nothing has worked for us. Why not just say, hey, all right, if it's the vote that you're looking for, then let's collectively say, look, if you want our vote, we want tangibles. And as we see, because this, my understanding of it is, if you wait a few cycles, because what the fuck is happening to us now? What worse can happen to us? At this point. So if we remove ourselves and let them feel the pain of the cycles, maybe then they will realize that we have to offer these people something in order for them to participate in this win or loss, however it goes. But the fact of the matter is, we need to start being collective about our political aspirations, and understand that we need core things. And if people can agree on core issues, then we should vote as a block. And that's how hey, you want our vote, we want tangibles, and we'll send our vote to wherever the fucking money and tangible policies bring us. I don't see no problem with holding our vote. I don't think we have to run to the Republican side of the game and be one issue voters, even though the one issue is very important. There are other issues that are just as important, if not more important, than just immigration. And in my book, the Trump is standing for things that, you know, at the end of the day, I can't rock with. I just can't rock with somebody who's going to give qualified immunity. What if I get pulled over? What if my son gets pulled over? You know what I'm saying? And the cops having a fucking bad day, or hopped up on fucking drugs, you know, because they don't get drug tested. You know what I'm saying? And that could be the day that could be the end for me. And there's nothing gonna happen to this officer. That's qualified immunity, man. We can't fucking, you know, sacrifice that for immigration. Fuck that. Fuck that. You know, because this is something that is actually harming our people, law-abiding citizens, and the like. You know, and I just can't do that. And there's a few other things that he's talking about that I just, you know, just can't stand for, can't stand with. So for me, it's a no. I'm gonna do my down ballot local thing because I know that those politics is the most politics that affects me is my state and my local government, and that's where I'm gonna vote. But outside of that, as far as national, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna participate in in the demise or party issue because at that point, local local politics is really party, you know, party neutral in my opinion. I could vote a Republican and along with a Democrat as an independent. So that's where I'm at. I'm an independent. I'm not a part of any party because I understand that these parties are not for me at this point in time. So until they do that, I'm going to hold my vote. And I just hope a lot of other black people, you know, hold their vote as well. And that's where I land my plane.
No, much appreciated. I'm with you, man. Yeah, I ain't seen nothing yet, so I can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Not in that national sense, but that local election, yeah, I'm looking at a few things. There's even people locally who I can't even vote for. You know, as I watch them, I'm like, yeah, he's not getting my vote. You know, so I'm not even able. Like the last election that we had, you know, last year, you know, locally, it was a local election for me, and most of the things were local, and I couldn't vote for a lot of the people on there because I was like, I looked them up and I just didn't like a lot of their stances and policy. You know, it's a lot of people that are towing party lines, and I just couldn't do it. I'm like, I can't. I don't. You know, to be a Democrat, a lot of these cats they almost get bullied into towing the party line, or otherwise, you know, support will be pulled. And don't stop towing party lines while you're in office because this shit can really get weird for you. You know, Eric Adams up in New York, it was like when he just spoke about immigration and how it's like a problem and all in New York. Next thing you know, a random white woman just come out and say like some shit happened in the '90s. I'm like, damn, what do they do? They got a fucking Rolodex of women. Use an old term, but they just got a whole fucking old ass Rolodex because it's from the '90s. You know what I'm saying? So they got a Rolodex of old ass white women that'd be like, he touched me, he felt my breast in the office when we used to work at, you know, some old ass. Oh, we used to work at Woolworths, and when he was a stock boy at Woolworths, he touched my breast. Like people like Woolworths.
Face
Shit.
look like a dehydrated rubber band, nigga. Like, oh my god.
He'd be like, damn, Eric Adams, they went back to 91 on your ass. You had a fade and a goddamn part going down the side of your head. And they said you was feeling on titties and shit. And you hopped in your your Fiero and was playing Jamaican music, driving back to Bed-Stuy. Shit, they just popped her out of nowhere because you said fuck immigration. You was trying. Now you trying to remember it. She like, God damn, do I remember? What was I doing in '91? God damn. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a young dude. I was wilding maybe or whatever. They sitting there questioning you. I don't know shit. I was smoking weed and listening to dance hall in my Mazda. in my Mazda Miata or my Fiero and shit, going leaving my job at Woolworths and shit. Like for real, but they just pop up out of nowhere and and they got these brothers be just. I'm like, what did you? I be asking questions now, like, okay, what did you do to piss somebody off? Because these old, they just be sitting on this old shit, and they just pop up out of nowhere. What the fuck did you do to piss them off? Eric Adams, it was obvious, but I'm like, I'm thinking that about everybody, like P Diddy. I'm like, okay, bro, come on, man. You got clips from 2016, and now it's all kind of shit. They're going back to Biggie's death, and I'm like, you pissed somebody off. Me, all I asked with the Diddy thing before I go to, I think it was York that was first. Before I go to York, the Diddy thing, this is my thing. I'm like, all right, bro, you about to go down. We get it. It's gonna happen. This is happening. This is pushing forward. It's done. Could you just like tell on everybody? I
Just
never say
drop
that.
the tapes.
Yeah,
Just
just
drop
yeah,
the secret tapes, nigga.
man, just put everything, just let everybody have it. We deserve to know. I'm tired of this drib and drab stuff, and they just going after everybody that they don't like in that moment and messing them over. Just tell on every fucking body. Everybody telling on you. Might as well. I don't. I don't advocate snitching, but in this case, I need to know who's fucking over the community. And just I'm tired of black people they going on Shannon Sharp talking about other black people, and all these accusers going at black people. But I want everybody to get told. I want the white folks to get told on.
Hey, Av, this is a Nino Brown moment. This is bigger than Nino Brown, Miss Hawkins. This is
Exactly.
bigger than Nino Brown.
That nigga blamed it on he was like, he got masterminded by him. He pointed to the random light skinned nigga who he was bullying in the whole movie. I'm
The
like, who
whole light
bullied this
skinned nigga.
nigga? I'm
It's
like, you
the
just
yellow nigga. It's
yeah,
him.
he masterminded. I'm like, nigga, you stabbed that dude in the hand. Like
Well, we need a Nino moment for Diddy, man. Like fucking, this is bigger than Nino Brown, baby.
man,
This is bigger than Diddy.
man, he need to
Take
get up
that.
there and pull out his
Man,
tissue
this
and
is
be
junk.
he need to pull out his tissue and be like, yo, Clive Davis fucked me in the ass. Like Clive,
Oh my
he
God.
made me
When
do
I
it.
was a young
He made
intern.
me do it. He made me do it. All I wanted was a deal, and then next thing I know, I drank some weird shit, and my ass hurt. And Clive just said, "Hey, welcome to being a record deal owner," and just walked
All
out.
I
Like
wanted to be was all in your music video, dancing in your video. That's all I wanted.
that's the only chance he got to say that somebody bigger than him like did something shit to him. You know what I'm saying? I was groomed to be an abuser or whatever. Like they made me do this shit. I had parties. I ain't went to no parties. I got tapes on everybody because they
Well,
made me do it.
I got the tape of my initial rape by Clive
Because
Davis.
Diddy got some. I know Diddy got some crazy tapes. Like just
Bro,
put them all out. Just put or just
Homeland
threaten.
Security came to your properties, my nigga. You got something large, and they didn't arrest you. They didn't arrest you, nigga.
Yeah, they
They
scared.
just
They didn't find it.
they just
They didn't
unboxed
find it.
this shit and left, my nigga. Like
They
with
did
no
not find it.
explanation, no public no public announcement, nigga. They just came and took your shit and took boxes, bro. That's why I said this dude had heavy compromise on some powerful figures, my nigga. And they called in a few favors, my dude, and them favors got executed. And now what you're seeing, because I truly believe that this had everything to do with that racial lawsuit he brought out. I truly believe that. Because there is no man. This shit was sitting on man. This Cassie shit. Come on, bro. This would have buried his ass.
I just passed the mic. I passed the mic, man. I done forgot what I wanted to say. Y'all go ahead on, brother. Go ahead on, fam.
You should have wrote it on. You should have wrote it down.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Should have just spit your hot fire, my nigga.
Yeah, I'm
We
good,
would have
man. I'm
shut up.
good. I'm good. Go
Oh, it's
ahead.
all good.
Continue, family. Continue, family.
Appreciate you. But yeah, nah, it's like they trying they man, look, they trying to bury this brother. And it's just I'm getting tired of old shit being brought up out of nowhere when it's convenient for whoever got a gripe with the person they trying to bury. It's just it's too much, man. Like another thing too, that clip they got shared, I want that to be woken up. That Cassie clip, not of her getting beat up or whatever. Because here's my thing about it. Like I don't like what I saw. I don't like how I'm like, damn, bro, you hitting her like she a dude. But then I'm like, I don't know what happened before, and I'm not justifying nothing, but I'm like, damn, what did she do to make you run out of your room and you're naked with a towel on in a hotel? And then he picked up something. He was more. It looked like he was concerned about what she took, and he
What
picked
she
something
took,
up.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I want to know all the particulars before I just put final judgment. As it stands
'Cause
now,
hold on, Av. This is what made me think about like me privately talking to my wife. I was saying, yo, she stole something from that man. Cause you look at his reaction when he got to the elevator doors. He grabbed that bag, looked at the bag, and then immediately kicked her.
right,
That tells me right there that somebody stole something. That's a steal something reaction. And I'm not giving this shit justification either way. You don't have to beat up no girl smaller than you. You just take your items and let her be. But
right,
the thing is that the just the visceral reaction of it all. Like, just I'm leaving women, men out of it. I'm just saying emotionally reactive response because he looked at the item and then he kicked her, and that told me that either she took some money or a valuable uh, something valuable of his. And I don't think people want to make sway. Oh well, she was being kept and all. Nah, nah, nah.
yeah, I
If
ain't with that either.
the chick wanted to go, she would have left. Because
And
if
she
that
did leave.
that was a regular occurrence, I'm sorry, she don't have no ultimate tie to that dude. There was no children. She could have bounced. She
And she
she
did.
obviously she tried. So let's not sit here and say that things didn't happen. Maybe she found a way to say, "Hey, I gotta come up in this situation. Let me get up out of here, but I gotta get a come up before I go." You know what I'm saying? So, and I think what happened was them alcohol people came to her and her husband and was like, "Yo, we know what's going on. The rumors. Here's she might have got slid some money to come out. We don't
Right.
even know. We
Oh
don't
yeah.
even know. Tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot of scenarios we can make up, but the thing for me is this is that dude was wrong. Dude was doing a whole lot of shit, but dude got a whole lot of shit on a whole lot of powerful people,
Right.
and it's just gonna be a minute before we finally find out if this dude's gonna be charged. But I honestly, my honest opinion, Nick, is that he's not gonna be charged with any fucking crime, y'all. I don't think he's gonna be charged with any fucking
I
crime.
think it's a big. I think it's a big chance that he does get away with a lot of shit. Also, too, anybody coming up to the stage that wants to talk, like, put your hand up. Like, if you just show up and I don't know you, I'm actually watching the jumbotron, making sure you ain't putting weird shit in the jumbotron before you get up here. Like, I got the only way I'm gonna know that you want to speak is if you put your hand up. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I already know you want to speak. Raise, but I know you. I know G Money, but the two other cats that was up here that didn't get a chance to speak, I'm not. If I see a hand, I'm more likely to think about calling on you. If I'm not looking closely at my phone, I don't see if it says speaker or listener. I know that I'm a host. I'm the co-host, and Nikki's the host. And I know right now, I'm looking closely now that Racer Bo and Greg are speakers. I know that much. But if you come up here new, and I'm not looking directly at my phone the whole time, I'm only looking at like emojis from a distance. I don't know that you're even on stage until that hand is up. So that you want to speak. So that's very important. Before I go to Racer Bo, to your point, Greg, yeah, I think he might not. He got something stuff on some people. Plus, in the grand scheme of things, a lot of what's happening is rumors. And then there's this thing about Cassie that I wanted to talk about. Man, look, uh, apparently, Kim Porter's friends have said how Cassie was very, very evil towards her and even laughed at the abuse that Kim was going through. I guess maybe Kim got hit one time, her nose was bleeding, and Cassie was laughing at it. You know what I'm saying? They said that Cassie was like a part of the shit. And so here's my thing too. Like, I know two things can be true. That Cassie can have could have helped with a lot of Diddy's things, and of course been abused herself. However, Like I've always looked at this Hollywood shit with a different. I don't just think that women are victims automatically. I look at everything on its own. I know that there are women who help make the environment of Hollywood worse in a sense of the women who there are women who fought back and didn't want to be in this shit and like, you know what? I'm not gonna be with these men. I'm not gonna be on the casting couch. I got self-respect. My talent is gonna carry me, and if it means that I don't get to be a big famous person, so be it. I respect that. But there are women who had no problem laying on that casting couch and giving up the goods so they could get ahead. And those women may later sometimes act like they're victims. I don't look at them like that because they help to build the system. Harvey Weinstein, for every woman that he may have abused, what did abuse or whatever, definitely, and they did not want to take part in what he was offering. There were women who accepted that shit and were okay with it. Those women to me are not victims. Like, yeah, I had sex with him for a role or what. Like, okay, so you agreed. And there are women who acted like they did, but then they did. Like Lupita Nyong'o, she said, yeah, I went over his house and he like wanted more, but all I did was massage his shoulders or whatever. I don't believe that shit because I'm seeing you out here eating and you getting the Oscar and you and I'm like, okay, she kind of came out of nowhere, and yeah, she's a good looking sister and all that, but I ain't saying she's the best actress there is. And now I'm seeing that you got with Harvey Weinstein. You went over his house and all you did was massage his shoulders and you leave, and now you getting the Oscar nod, and you in movies, and I see in your face everywhere. That smells fishy to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying nothing happened, but I'm saying your story sounds a little bit more unbelievable because of who he was and what he does if you do what you do. And it seems like you got the golden ticket. And so I'm like, and you know how somebody say they did something but didn't do. Oh, all I did was didn't. I don't know. You should have said you did nothing. You shouldn't even said nothing. You should have just kept that. Why you halfway telling me shit? I was yeah. So the women who participated in the whole system and continue to allow it to be what it is or whatever, I look at them as part of the problem too. The women who resisted and wanted to just make it on their laurels, you know what I'm saying? Beautiful. Clap, clap. I wish that I hope you get everything that you deserve for having integrity. Go ahead, Racer Bo.
Yeah, yeah, y'all can hear me.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Nah, cause I just wanted to speak on this real quick, especially nowadays when we talk about the celebrity lifestyle, in particular black celebrities. Understand something. Uh, the celebrities of our community have been monitored by the government ever since the civil rights movement. Okay, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye, Gladys Knight, all of them, they are monitored. Whitney Houston monitored. Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson monitored. And then when people think I say monitor, they think on a low level. Oh, the feds just got an eye on them. No, they have people working amongst their personal staff. They have operatives over there at the record labels working with them. They even have operatives involved in some of their negotiations. So understand that the government is in total control of the record industry. The record industry is nothing but an essential extension of the media, and the media is government control. So don't you dare think that the music industry is not government control. And if not, Little Nas X and Sexy Red is not a goddamn example of that, I don't know what to tell you. So when you see footage of Diddy doing shit in 2016 and it's just now coming out in 2020 fucking four, they've been knew that what was going on in detail. Okay, so if there's uh, 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 um if there's abuse, sexual trafficking, or anything of that type of nature going on, the government knows about it. And the problem I have with us is that we wait until the dominant society decides to want to point the finger at somebody in our community, and all of a sudden everybody wants to join the bandwagon and criticize. This is why even me, I stay out of the Diddy conversations. I stayed out of the R. Kelly conversations as much as possible, and the Cosby, because I know exactly the trajectory that the dominant society is coming from. You get what I'm saying? These people are proxies for all of us. You get what I'm saying? So we gotta understand that, and start looking at that from that lens. That when when we sitting there when when the powers that be decide to sit there and have they pick who gonna be the nigga of the month, and then we join the bandwagon and criticize on open platforms, particularly in front of mixed company, that could be very dangerous. So us as a collective, we need to start having an understanding of
I fuck with that. Yeah, I really fuck with that. Agreed. Agreed, because the dominant society, man, they have a lot of problematic figures and they won't speak against them. These cats get a pass, even in death. They get a pass. There's dudes who, like, they got a lot, they have a checkered past and they just get a pass, bro. Like, you know, Elvis Presley, man, like Jerry Lee Lewis. These are cats that married minors. You know what I'm saying? Like Jerry Lee Lewis, shit. His a cousin. He married his cousin. Like she was, and not like a cousin. He didn't like not accidentally, not no third, fourth cousin, which is weird enough. It was like a second cousin, and it was his cousin's. That was like his first cousin's daughter or some shit. He'd seen her from the time she was a baby, and he married her. I'm like, this motherfucker get a huge pass, and they was down Chuck Berry's neck. You know what I'm saying? And white woman was throwing it at him when he was going, where he was going. You know what I'm saying? Like they wanted Chuck Berry to have a, you know what I'm saying, to have an identity verification machine and shit. Like, hey man, she was 17, man. We throwing you in prison. But Jerry Lee Lewis out here just doing nut ass shit, and it's okay, And then you look at a lot of dudes in the rock and roll era. A lot of them were with minors and stuff. They get a pass. Athletes, same shit. I want to say it's what was it? Michael Douglas's father, Kurt Douglas. I believe he had a rape case. He died. He just died. He was just an old legend that died. You know what I'm saying? Roman Polanski. He's still alive. Right? I believe he's still alive. He raped a 13-year-old. And he just left, and they awarded him with an Oscar years later. He was in a country that wouldn't, like, I guess, extradite him. But they have all of these problematic figures, and they just get a pass. Like they get a pass. Like the newer version of Birth of a Nation. They want to make an example out of Nate Parker for playing Nat Turner, and he actually was found not guilty. And then in the appeal, his friend was found not guilty. And the girl killed herself. She did, but they wanted him to pay for the fact that him being not guilty and her killing herself, like somehow that was his fault. And meanwhile, at the very same time, Casey Affleck had to settle the case, and he won the Oscar over Denzel. And all the Oscar talk with Nate Parker went away. You know what I'm saying? They kind of pushed him to the side. And you know who was trying to interview his ass during that whole shit? Oprah. And that interview would have been a shit show. They was trying to set that brother up. Luckily, he dodged that. He saw that one coming. He dodged it because this was before the R. Kelly interview, and this is before she tried to set up Michael Jackson with that Finding or Leaving Neverland bullshit. But they get passes all the time for being problematic, and when it comes to black people, there's too many black people that want to get out in front of a camera and show the world, oh, I'm against this. I'm not messing with this. Shoot, he wrong, you wrong. It's like, bruh, if they're not doing it, why the fuck are you doing it? It's kind of like the Farrakhan question they used to ask back in the day. They don't really ask it now, but they used to ask it, all black people. Hey man, do you denounce Farrakhan? Like what? Who the fuck are you talking? I'm gonna start every time I ask you. I'm like ask everybody who is problematic to them or to other communities in their community if they denounce them. Since we doing that, me don't ask me that. I'll be like hell no. Why would I? Hell no, I don't denounce Farrakhan. Why would I? I love him. How about that? I love Farrakhan. Period. Dot. End of story. Moving. Next question. Next question. Start asking everybody who they denounce in they shit or whatever. I'm like, do you denounce George Washington? Do you denounce Thomas Jefferson, white man? Do you? Because that man's very problematic to my community. Those men are. George Washington had 300 slaves. They still buried at his house. You can still visit. And when you go there, I hear black Americans like sometimes we feel some shit when we on that feel something spiritually when we show up on at that the unmarked graves of slaves. We feeling something spiritual, something happened to you. Do you denounce him? No, they think that he's a great man. you know, asking everybody in the community what they denounce. Nah, they always want to have black people want our thoughts on what another black person is doing. And then unfortunately too many black people fall for it. I want the world to know where they stand morally. It's like, man, you literally are rubbing shoulders with people that saw Derek Chauvin kill a man on television and didn't have shit to say. You literally see celebrities who didn't say shit when Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd that were triggered by Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. It's the weirdest shit. I was I was so traumatized by like, wait, you were traumatized because at a show two brothers were suited and booted and they had a disagreement and one of them gave him a gentleman slap. That was a gentleman slap, the kind you do before a duel. That's what that was.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad. That's why I'm glad. That's why I'm glad when OG Cam didn't fall for that old bullshit.
Who, OG
You know what I'm
who?
saying? He went on CD Cameron,
Oh yeah.
Killer
Oh
Cam, man.
man. Thank
Yeah,
God.
they try to spin. I'm glad he didn't fall for that bullshit. And he went up there and spent that shit on their ass.
That shit was funny. Cameron handled that shit like a G. I loved how he did that. And then they're gonna use a black anchor, a black female, to do it. And I'm like, damn, I know this is your job, sis, but we gotta stop doing this shit. We gotta stop doing this shit, trying to get out in front of something and show the
Yeah, but
world.
she a tether anyway. But
I,
she a
I got
tether
Really?
those. I
anyway.
got
What's
those
the point
vibes.
about them?
I got those vibes, but I wasn't sure.
She was low key laughing too. I don't know if y'all noticed that. She had a little smirk on her face
What?
towards the end.
Well, when he said he was gonna get some cheeks, that shit was funny.
Yeah.
I gotta drink this real quick. I'm gonna go get me some cheeks later. I'm like, Jay, that man just popped it over, just sitting there drinking.
I was dying, yo. I was dying, yo.
I'm like, is this CNN? Yeah, I gotta eat this real quick. Go get me some cheeks. I'm gonna get me some cheeks later. I'm like, man, it would have been perfect if they would have had Mace on the interview too, nigga. I would have loved that. You have them both and ask them both. I think Mace would have been like, Cameron, nigga, what is you doing, nigga? Come on, man, just answer the question, nigga. Nah, but that shit was funny as hell. That shit had me dying. I love it. I love them brothers, man. I love them brothers.
But he was on code though. That's the perfect example. But then he told her, he said, yo, island. Don't be sitting around watching Diddy and all of that. Like, come on. He sounded like he said, I ain't know it's a Diddy joint.
Man, who booked me for this?
You know what though? We all saw this shit coming. You know what it was? I hate to say it. It was us. It was us that helped to set this shit up because we kept on talking about like it kept on being a bunch of weird clips. And we was like we was blowing this shit like, hey man, you see that you see that Drink Champs interview? First of all, that shit kept circulating too long and it was like it was giving people ideas and shit when he was holding niggas' hands and trying to pull them to the table, and then, hey man, how come me and you ain't never party, man? And that was weird. And then Fabulous kept looking away and shit really uncomfortable, which made me just laugh. Man, I was in tears, bro, watching Fabulous respond to Diddy's weird ass energy. And then I saw this is what really fucked me up. I saw Nori, the way he blew on that candle, I'm like, nigga, what are you doing? I was so mad watching that. I was like, okay, he's not gonna blow that candle because you don't blow on a candle from a cupcake that Diddy hands you in front of everybody, and you know this is being taped. You're not gonna blow that candle. He not gonna blow. This nigga blew the motherfucking candle. I was so goddamn mad. I was like, why? And the way he did, he leaned his neck. He had a crook in his neck. He leaned over and he did this weird like thing where it was feminine kind of how he blew on it. I was like, oh no, Nori, what are you doing? Why are you? First of all, you don't blow on the fucking cupcake candle when a nigga's holding it to your mouth. What are you doing? And you gonna do your neck like that and what the fuck? What are you doing? You a grown ass man. We don't blow out candles,
Don't forget. Half Puerto Rican.
right? That shit messed me up. I'm like, Nori, what are you doing, man? Everybody was so uncomfortable. I'm like, Diddy though, when he get a little bit of sauce in him, he was not caring. Come on, man. I love you when you something is scraping, daddy. Come on, daddy. I was like, oh, bruh. And you gonna blow the goddamn candle.
Hey, he was a bully. He a bully